You can measure the size of an elephant. You can clock the speed of a cheetah, but you can't quantify the heart of a...
Kings, queens, and in-betweens. Welcome to Dr. Boxing Talk. Stream starts now.
The champ is here! 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 The champ is here!
If I tell you I'm good, probably you will say I'm boasting. But if I tell you I'm no good, you know one line.
Yo, man, what it do, Boxing Talk family, BTF gang, DBT gang, whatever you want to call it, man, all things in between, man, what it do, good, great, grand morning to y'all, man, it's wonderful Monday morning, you know what I'm saying, my brothers and sisters, mi hermanos, mi hermanas, brethren and sisters, boys and girls, ladies and lads, kings and queens, you know what I'm saying? Dudes and dudettes and everything in between. Y'all know what time it is. A doctor's in the house. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. We are in the building, man. What it do. So, today, you know, we had a late show last night. You know, thank God for that. So, it wasn't too much. We don't have too many more new developments, but you know me, man. I'm going to do my thing, and I'm going to look around, and I'm going to find something to chat about. And what I found to talk about is pretty interesting, you know. If it wasn't interesting, I wouldn't have a show, right? So I think it was very interesting. But before we get to that, man, let's go ahead and thank the Most High for this wonderful, beautiful brightness of another wonderful day, man. So please join me and bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for your blessings. We thank you for waking us up this morning. We pray that you cover us with your peace and your mercies as we go off to work, as we go off to travel, as we go off to drop the kids off to school or whatever it is, or we attend school ourselves, Lord, just in any capacity that we're living this day. Please protect us and keep us in your safety, your safety net or safety barrier and of love, and let us also go out and spread love as well and disseminate love and speak of peace and kindness. You know, and forgive us for, not just for our, I don't want to say evil, but yeah, forgive us for our evil actions. Not only forgive us for our evil actions, but even our thoughts as well. Sometimes we, you know, we have thoughts that we can't control and that aren't necessarily good, but we could always control our actions. So don't let our bad thoughts manifest into actions, but let our good thoughts manifest into actions. And we ask that you forgive us for our sins, and also give us the strength to be able to forgive those that do us wrongly or trespass against us, or, you know, don't treat us how well we should be treated, Lord. And give us the capacity to also recognize when we are mistreating others, and be able to be strong enough and humble enough to apologize. So please forgive us for our sins and keep us strong, and not just in our in life and in physical, but also strong in faith. Through Jesus' name, amen. Amen, amen, amen. Let's get it, man. So we had the fight that happened yesterday, man. We had the fight between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn, man, to continue where the fathers left off. You know, their feud. Their feud back in what the you know, a long times ago's days, and where it saw Chris Eubank Sr. fight Nigel Benn to where he stopped him in a very rough fight. I think he stopped him in the 9th round, and then they had a rematch, and then decades later between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn, and we finally brought an end to that. Well, let me not say an end, but we have another chapter to that. Hopefully, it's done. And we saw Chris Eubank win by unanimous decision. I had him winning 8-4, you know, which reflects a score 116-112. And coincidentally, the judges, all 3 judges, unanimously saw it the same way. You know, now I gave Conor Benn the 1st round, the 3rd round, the 8th round, and the 10th round. I'm not sure if any of the judges had the identical scorecard as me as far as the round splits, but, you know, it all ended up the same, you know. And so I don't think that's, you know, sometimes it's not impossible for all 3 judges to get it wrong, you know, and 4 judges in my case. But that's a rarity, you know what I'm saying? Usually at least one of them will get it right, you know. But so I think that all 3 of them having it the same way, I think it reflects that it's a pretty accurate assessment, right? Not to mention that I watched the fight without any commentary, so I didn't hear the biased bullcrap that they were spewing in favor of whether it was favor of Conor Benn or Chris Eubank Jr. I just honestly and authentically and genuinely score the fight, and objectively, most importantly, you know. So I thought it was a pretty good fair result. But Conor Benn himself does not think so. I watched a little interview today, and, you know, I spoke on this yesterday as well. You know, during the post-fight presser, they were asking Conor Benn about how he felt about the fight, and he said he thought that he could have won, and that's okay, because, like I said, he's in the fight. So if you think that you could have won, of course, you're actually in the fight. You're the one that's going the full 12 rounds. I don't mind a fighter who's in it, or a team that's in it, to feel like their fighter won, because you're actually in the shit, you're in the mud, and you probably felt like, okay, I landed more punches that round, or I didn't take as much damage. But anybody that's watching the fight, like people were, they were telling him that it could have went either way, and that he should have got the nod.
Bullshit! Bullshit! Bullshit, 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 bullshit!
Like, what were you watching? Like, there's no way that you could watch that fight, in my personal opinion, objectively, and have Conor Benn winning. Like, now, if you want to have it closer than 8 rounds to 4, like if you have it 9 rounds to 3, if you have it 7 rounds to 5, excuse me, or even if you have it 9 rounds to 3, you know, wider. But if you have it like 7 rounds to 5, okay, you know, you don't have to have it 8 rounds to 4. But I don't think you can really get a spread closer to 115, 113 in favor of Chris Eubank Jr. Like, to me, that just shows that you probably have some type of allegiances or loyalty to a certain fighter, which I think is corny, you know, unless you're getting paid by their camp. I just don't really see it. You know, I thought that fight was convincingly won by Chris Eubank Jr. But that doesn't mean that Conor Benn didn't have his moments. You know, he had his moments, and he also had a big old moment where he almost ended up on his back.
You got knocked the fuck out, man. Give me my goddamn money.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, that's the reason why I respect it, because I respect his fight, because the amount of fight that he displayed, like, he showed a lot of heart, man. I thought that was very honorable, very admirable. You know, even the fact that he's an egg popper. You know, he popped dirty a couple of times, and, you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with making him acknowledge the fact that he's a PED user.
We do not let people who are on the juice discuss real athletes. That's all.
I don't think there's anything wrong with acknowledging the fact that he's a cheater or anybody else that cheated, you know. But I don't think that's the end all be all, you know what I'm saying? I give credit where credit is due, and I thought he put on a hell of a performance, displayed a lot of heart, a lot of fighting spirit, and he was fighting. I maintain that he was fighting unconscious, man. He was just fighting just off a straight instinct, man. That's a warrior right there. You know, he could have folded up, could have stopped swinging, but he was just swinging instinctively. And I swear I saw his eyes roll back a couple times at that 12th round, and I thought it was gonna be over. And he survived, man. Not only did he survive, he fought back. So shout out to him for that. And yeah, man, like Conor Benn made a fan out of me. I want to see another fight. I'm anticipating his next fight, whether it's going to be at 147 or it's going to be a rematch with Chris Eubank Jr. I don't think the rematch should happen, not because the fight wasn't great, but I don't think every great fight should be a rematch. Like, this was great and good, not because it was close to me. It was great and good because it was interesting, intriguing. They even implemented some WWE theatrics with the entertainment value of Chris Eubank Sr. opening the door and just revealing himself like, oh, you know what I'm saying? He came through. That joke was dope. And then him and his son embracing after their years long feud. So I thought that was cool. It just had a lot of elements of it to make a perfect story. And then not to mention you have the PED user that deserves to be villainized. You know what I'm saying? And then you have the guy who was done wrong, seemingly, and coming out and wearing the cloak, and not the cloak, but like the shield and the suit of righteousness and fighting for the integrity of boxing. Now, I thought it just had all the elements to be another great showing. However, what it didn't have was fairness as far as the circumstances in which they fought or the conditions that had to be met. You know, let's be honest, Conor Benn is he normally campaigns at welterweight 147, even though his last two fights were at 150 and 154. You know, a lot of us still consider him as a welterweight, right? We think of his home division as 147, and then Chris Eubank, even though he mostly campaigned at 160, he has been as high as 168. And to be fair, for the last year or so, about a year and a half, we have been teased and he flirted with potentially fighting Cinnamon, you know, the face of boxing, my boy Canelo. So I'm saying that to say that we consider him to be potentially or possibly moving up to 168 anyway. So the fact that he's bringing himself down and then putting on a 10-pound rehydration, I don't really mind the 10-pound rehydration because that's what they do in the IBF anyway. So I'm not mad at that. But, you know, it just seemed a little unfair in his favor. Now, if you want to say that's the truth, or if you want to say, oh, that's what he agreed to, that's fine. I'm just speaking on the optics because also Conor Benn also agreed to move up too. So I'm not saying that anybody had a disadvantage more than the other person. I'm just saying they both collectively had disadvantages. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't an ideal situation for these two fighters to fight, and we don't want to see people get hurt. We want to mitigate those the possibility of people getting hurt. Of course, it's the hurt game. It's boxing, it's combat. You're gonna get hurt. That's the name of the game, the pain game. But you want to try to mitigate and minimize the opportunities for people to sustain injury. And I think that if they fight again, I don't think you can safely do that. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I think they should both move on, in my personal opinion. But the fight was great, man. Just watch it again. You know what I'm talking about? Replay that thing. You know what I'm saying? Run it back. You feel me? Yes, sir. We got some action in the chat, man. We got my guy Everything John in the building. Appreciate you, bro. Shout out to Abdul in the building. Shout out to Mike Mazik in the building. We got J Mel in the building. We got my guy Oscar Perez, man, my brother in the building. Big member in the building. Abdul says, hi, no rematch. Keep it Eubank. I agree. I don't think you need a rematch, man. I agree. I think you should move on as well. Everything about box said, bro, if you were a commentator interviewing fighters with your action skills, with your Asian skills, what's that? What's Asian? Oh, maybe you meant conversation skills, maybe? Maybe you say like with my conversation skills, maybe? I don't know. You would be so much more appreciated in the UK. Man, I appreciate that, bro. Shout out to my guy, Everything by John, man. Salute to you, bro. I appreciate the compliment, man. My guy always coming through and dropping some kind words. He said, bro, if you were commentating or interviewing fighters with your conversation skills, I'm assuming, he said you will be so much more appreciated in the UK. They respect sports and boxing different. I agree with that, bro. I'm on record of saying Everything by John. I've always said that I think UK fans are the best boxing fans. I stand on that. I'm not saying that they don't say dumb stuff like everybody else. I'm not saying that every single fan from the UK is good just because they're from the UK, nor am I saying that everybody else that's not from the UK is bad. but I do think UK, from their appreciation of boxing and sports and the athletes, I think that they have a different level. You know, I know a lot of times we say, you know, the American boxing fans are terrible, but I do think I'm American, and I think American boxing fans as a whole, not individually, are trash.
Know your fucking place, trash.
Like, I mean, look at Mexico. Mexico also has some good boxing fans as well, you know, especially when you talk about for their own, you know, but especially England, you know, even Japan, right? Japan has they're good boxing fans as well. But how many Derek Warchisoras do you see in America? You know what I'm saying? In America, if you lose one fight, you're garbage. They throw you out. You know what I'm saying? Look at Errol Spence. He lost to a pound for pound number 1, 2, or 3 in Terrence Bud Crawford, a phenomenal fighter, all-time great, a generational talent who's undisputed in 2 different weight classes, undefeated while doing it. He has suffered his first loss to him, and while they're both on the pound for pound list, and we got like Errol Spence is trash now. Deontay Wilder loses to Tyson Fury in a fight that was to determine who was the best heavyweight of this era, right? One person's going to lose, one person's going to win. Tyson Fury won, and now we say that Tyson Fury's the best, and then we say that Deontay Wilder's trash. Like how, bro? You know what I'm saying? Even I'm gonna try to think of another American fighter that lose. I mean, look how they're treating Devin Haney. Even if even if there was no PEDs involved, and Devin Haney got mollywopped like that legally by Ryan Garcia, who cares? There's one loss. We always say, oh, styles make fights. We acknowledge the fact that they have a familiarity with each other stemming from the background of their amateurs. But then one person loses, particularly if it's the Black American fighter, we say he's trash. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, you know. It's great, but even look at Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant, if he was from Japan, or if Caleb Plant was from UK or Australia or Mexico, he would be treated better too, because he only has 2 losses, and those losses came to Canelo, who's an all-time great, you know, pound for pound talent, first ever undisputed in 168-pound division, and then he lost to Benavidez, who's considered one of the better fighters today. Those are only his 2 losses. Caleb Sweet Hands Plant should be more popular. You see what I'm saying? But no, we just get rid of fighters when they have 1 loss in America. I think it's trash. I mean, there's no Derek Warchisora type fighter from America. There's no, I'm trying to think, there's no guy that's appreciated like a Isak Pitbull Cruz from America. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you could say that Ryan Garcia is the abnormal one. You know, you could say that he's the one that's treated much. I don't know. You could say that he's the abnormality there. Like, people still want to see him, but I think that's something else. I don't think it has much to do with. Shout out to Ryan Garcia. He could do no wrong, but you know, I don't like him for the stuff that he says and cheating. But you know, he is the one that's the exception to the rule, right? He lost to Tank, got stopped. Some people think he quit. I don't think he quit. I just think he got hit with a good stomach shot. But some people say he quit, but he still heading a bill, and he cheated. So, but I think it's not. I think it's more so about the fact that who he cheated, which is why he's not getting shunned like an Amir Khan or like a Conor Benn or like a Cesar Martinez or like a Dennis McCann or whoever else that cheated, that's been, you know, treated properly and villainized like they should. He's getting a Herculean heroic welcome and stuff like that. But I think it's because of more so about who he cheated, you know. So I think that's wrong too. But there are some exceptions to the rule as far as American fighters. I think Ryan Garcia is, but I don't think it's just boxing. I think if he would have lost to Devin Haney without the PED scandal and all that stuff, and I think people wouldn't pay attention to him as well, which I don't think is right either. You know what I'm saying? As far as boxing goes. But yeah, man, I agree with that, man. Shout out to my guy Oscar, man, dropping that bread, that cheese, that butter.
These biscuits and
Yes, sir, man. He said Team Rolly in 5. Shout out to Rolly. I hope Rolly wins, but I think Ryan Garcia wins, man. Good morning, my guy George in the building. Smack the like button like Tio smacked Barbosa in their face off. Smack the like button like Caleb Plant smacked Jamal Charlo. Smack the like button like Caleb Plant tried to smack Canelo. You know, smack the like button like Chris Eubank smacked Conor Benn. Smack the like button, baby. Smack the like button. Exactly, bro. Plant got a few losses on his record. No one cares. But as soon as the Black Fire loses, their career's done. Yep. That's why Tank move like that too. Yeah. And I'm not saying that, you know, no, I'm saying, no, my point with Caleb Plant is that I think he should be bigger though. Still, I definitely think that he's not as, I think Caleb Plant should be bigger too. I do think he's a victim of that too, because he's American, but I don't think it's as big as a Black American fighter. You know, I think they get treated worse, but I do think that American fighters as a whole get treated bad too. No, and please don't get it twisted. Like, I think even David Benavidez, if David Benavidez messes around and loses, I think that his stock will severely drop too. You know what I'm saying? I just think it's an American thing. You know, we think that every fighter has to be undefeated, and then we'll blame, oh, it's Floyd Mayweather's fault. No, it's not Floyd Mayweather's fault. Floyd Mayweather just recognized it, and then he was just so good that no one could beat him, and he's the one that marketed his But I try to tell people, if nobody's on drugs, there'll be nobody to sell drugs to. You know what I'm saying? So we could get mad at the dope dealers. I'm not saying, I mean, inside of you should not want to supply people with stuff that could hurt them. But at the same time, if there's nobody buying the product, there'll be nobody to serve as far as clientele goes, and then that business will die. Have you ever seen a thriving business without customers? So it's like we like to point the finger and blame certain things because it's easy, but let's have the harder conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like if there was nobody to sell the O to, the market the zero to, the donut, and nobody cared as much about being undefeated, then the fighters wouldn't sell it. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, I do agree that Gervonta Tank Davis moves selectively. I do think that Devin Haney moves selectively. I do think that all fighters move selectively. I think even who else? I think a lot of fighters move selectively, and you want them to take more risk. I think Lomachenko, I mean, he's not undefeated, but I think he's been moving selectively as well. He just happened to be he just happened to take losses while trying to move selectively. So let's be clear, everybody that moves selectively is not successful doing it. So you still have to beat people that's in front of you. So I still commend them, you know, but there's a lot of fighters that move selectively, but it's not because of them. I don't think that they're scared of each other. I think they want to fight. These are fighters by trade, by profession, you know, they're pugilists. So I don't think the fighters are really scared of each other, to be honest. I do think that they're scared of the L, and they're scared of the public reception. They're scared of becoming a meme. They're scared of having their livelihood taken away from them. They're scared of losing endorsements and sponsorships, and they're scared of being dismissed off the face of the earth because they suffered one loss, no matter how good the fight is. That's what I think that they're worried about. And I mean, hey, I mean, I think that's understandable. You know, so I'm not saying that it should be like that. You know, you should, because you should want to fight, but at the same time, I can understand it. I think anybody acting oblivious to it, I think that you're part of the problem. But yeah, man. So let's keep it going, man. It's definitely a good conversation to have, though. Definitely a good conversation. Man. Smack that like button, man. My boy knows business. Have you ever seen a business without clients? You feel me? You feel me? Thank you, Everything by John. You feel me? Have you ever? Have you ever, bro? Have you ever? So, I mean, so it is what it is, man. We could get mad. I mean, Derek Chisora has 13 losses. He doesn't have a problem getting fights. He doesn't have a problem gaining popularity. You know, how many losses does Anthony Joshua has? Anthony Joshua just sold out Wembley Stadium with Daniel Dubois. And Anthony Joshua's not even the champion. Can you imagine? Do you think look where Deontay Wilder's at? Deontay Wilder's on networks that you may not even heard of. It's not even recognized. You know what I'm saying? Imagine if Deontay Wilder was English. Oh, they love him. You know what I'm saying? Could you imagine if give me another guy? Like I said, Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant might be a big star if he was from the UK or Australia. Look at George Kambosos. He's still doing good in Australia relative to Australia in boxing because they love boxing. He has a couple losses. You know what I'm saying? So Devin Haney, if this was Japan, Ryan Garcia probably wouldn't be boxing again yet. You know what I'm saying? But he is American, and we it's the wild, wild west, literally and figuratively. We don't care. Beverage Eubank was great, but the argument can be made that without the names, it was an unproven 147 pounder versus a past his best 160 pounder. I agree with that. Neither currently champions, would people still care then? But that's the thing. That's you're kind of supporting my stance, right, George? I agree with you 1,000%. If Conor Benn and Chris Eubank, I'd take it a step further. Forget their names. If they were American or then that fight wouldn't be big. You know, look at Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson would be treated different if he was from a different country, I believe. Terrence Crawford, who else? You know, give me another. Somebody like Jose Rayo Valenzuela. You know, I think that he'll be treated a little bit, or Gary Antor Russell. You know, I think that they'll be treated a little bit better if they're from a different nationality. But anyway, it's not, like I said, it's not even just a complexion thing. It's a nationality thing. I think more, but the complexion, you know, absolutely, it matters too, because like I said, I think that black American fighters in particular get treated worse as far as having to maintain a pristine, unblemished, invincible record. You have to keep some aura of invincibility. But speaking on Chris Eubank and Conor Benn, I agree with you, George. I mean, it's because of their father's name, of course. Yeah, absolutely. And they carried it on. But, you know, what's the name is a champion now. If you don't want to recognize the IBO, I'm not mad at you, player. I'm not advocating for the IBO to be recognized as one of the four major sanctioning bodies, but the IBO if there was going to be a fifth one, it would be the IBO, and Chris Eubank is an IBO champion, you know, a former champion, whatever. So I do think that he is more accomplished than Conor Benn. But yeah, I agree with you. Conor Benn is his resume is pedestrian at best, but at the same time, you know, sometimes things rise above normal circumstances. Like I said, even with Ryan Garcia, right? He has some type of charisma or something polarizing about him that he is the exception to the rule, to where he could lose and even look like he quit, and he could cheat and people still want to see him. You know what I'm saying? As far as, like I said, I think it's more so who he cheated, the fact that he cheated Devin Haney, and people don't like Devin Haney and Bill Haney. It's almost cool not to like them, and I'm not really a big fan, but I don't hate them. I think some people hate them, so I think it's because of who he did it to. But for whatever reason, Ryan Garcia is he has a knockout loss, so people thought he quit. He cheated, and then he's still headlining a bill over guys that have been champions, and he's never been a champion. So there's something special about him, whether you like it or not. So there are exceptions to the rule, and maybe Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. are that. Maybe, you know, Chris Eubank Jr. is definitely charismatic. He's definitely polarizing of a personality. Look how he carried the promotion. You know what I'm saying? He definitely carried the promotion. So sometimes there's exceptions to the rule, but yeah, I don't think the rematch should happen. I think Ben thinking that he won. I'm not mad at Conor Benn thinking that he won, but I am mad at anybody who thinks that he won if they're trying to remain some level of objectivity. I think that it's crazy to think that Conor Benn won, in my opinion. He said, consider joining the Discord family to hop in. Yes, sir. Shout out to Oscar, man. I appreciate it, bro. He said, give your opinion on the topics given and give your point of view in boxing, regardless of your overall knowledge in the sport. We value opinions. Amen. Talk to him. That is a fact. Yeah. We value opinions. Yeah. Even if it differs from ours. We don't have that same opinion. My guy Isaiah in the building. Yes, sir. What it do, Isaiah? He said, the UK has a type of pedigree where fighters lose, they love them even more and continue to support them. Exactly. That's a fact, bro. That's a fact. I mean, Tyson Fury comes back. Him and AJ is still one of the biggest fights in boxing. You see what I'm saying? It is. Because that's how much the UK loves them. It's ingrained in them. Now, speaking of the UK love, I want to go to the flip side of this UK love. I want to talk about the bad side of this UK love. I want to talk about the funny and borderline embarrassing side of this UK love. Chat, I read this article this morning and I was crying laughing. I don't know if y'all will get as much of a kick out of it as I did, but I think this is worth a read. And I wish I had people in like a classroom we could do popcorn reading. But this is funny, man. So this is the name of the article. It's on Boxing News 24. It's called Tottenham Stadium Fight Night Experience, a coked up circus of human tragedy. I said, whoa. And this is by Amy Kaplan. I don't know who Amy Kaplan is, but boy, she went in on this article, man. Shout out to her. She needed a raise or something, because this junk is hilarious, bro. So she goes in and she's speaking about the UK experience on the fan standpoint. And you know, there's always good and bad, right? It just goes together, right? You know, so there's a good part when I'm sitting at home and I'm observing the UK fans. But of course, you're going to have those obnoxious fans. Of course, you're going to have those ignorant fans. Of course, you're going to have the belligerent fans. Of course, you're going to have the fans that are going to make people uncomfortable because they don't know how to act. Because the word fan is short for fanatic. And when you act fanatical about something, that means you're operating off of more emotion and less intelligence. And I don't want anybody to operate with no logic, because then that'd just get on my nerves, because I'm somebody, I don't drink, I don't smoke. So I'm never really inebriated like that. I'm not high, I'm not drunk. So I usually have my wits about me, and somebody who's high or drunk, not really high, but because most people are chill when they're high, but when somebody's drunk, you know, and they're a belligerent drunk, it kind of gets on my nerves, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, bro, just relax. Your fun shouldn't spoil my fun. Your fun shouldn't impede on my fun. You can have fun, but enjoy yourself. Why does that have to come at the expense or sacrifice of me having fun? You know what I'm saying? So people that are obnoxiously drunk, or just obnoxious in general, get on my nerves. But anyway, shout out to Amy. This thing is hilarious, bro. So she says, I swear to the Lord. Come on. She says, I swear, if you ever want to see society collapse in real time, just head to a UK stadium fight. She says, last night at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, pure human zoo. She said, you think you were walking into a big time boxing event, but nope. Welcome to Britain's greatest freak show. The freaks come out at night. She said, getting so coked up. You think you're Tony Montana. Want to say hello to my little friend. She said, getting so coked up, you think you're in a 900 € Stone Island jacket your mom bought for your mom, not your mom, chat, your mom. Oh, she funny, bro. Your mom bought for you, bought you on Klarna payments. I don't know what Klarna payments is, but it sounds funny. You know, she said, getting so coked up, you think you're Tony Montana in an expensive Stone Island jacket your mom bought you on Klarna payments. Now, I don't know if that's like welfare or I don't know what that is, but it doesn't sound good. She said, first off, can someone explain why UK chicks, oh, she about to go in on the women. She said, first off, can someone explain why UK chicks dress like knockoff prostitutes from a low-budget Netflix documentary every time there's a boxing fight night? She said, like, seriously, fake tan, fake lashes, fake designer bags, and dresses so tight you could practically see what they have for lunch. Sounds like somewhere I need to be. You know what I'm talking about? You hear me? No, I'm just playing. Said, tiptoeing around puddles of piss and vomit in heels that clearly they can't walk in. It said, is this some kind of national tradition? Oi, Becky, we're off to the boxing. Don't forget your whore costume. Why she have to say oi? Why she said oi, Becky? Bro, I ain't gonna lie, she's funny, bro. So second, there's literally nothing to see. I was about 40 yards from the ring, and all I got for my troubles was a perfect view of the back of some twat's head, waving a pint around like he was at Glastonbury. He said, she said, couldn't see a punch, couldn't even tell which blob was Eubank and which one was Ben. Might as well have been two mannequins fighting at the other end of the car park. Seriously, DAZN, on a cracked iPad would have been clear. So I guess she's saying that she was in the stadium and they didn't have a Jumbotron. And that's crazy if they didn't have a Jumbotron. Like, they're wilding. How you not gonna have a Jumbotron if that's the case? That's what she makes it sound like. There was no Jumbotron for you to clearly and effectively see the fight, you know? And she said, and the lads? Oh gosh, the lads. Every second guy was a Kieran or Bro, she said every second guy was a Kieran or a Callum. Bro, she said that everybody was Josh and Billy. That's crazy. That's the UK equivalent of Jim and Billy. She said every second guy was a Kieran or a Callum, acting like he's a scene veteran from Green Street Hooligans, shoving his chest out, nose dripping from coke, looking for an excuse to headbutt someone over a spilled pint. Absolutely bashed, bouncing around like wind-up toys, trying to start fights with Ben, stewards, each other, you name it. Every second word was bro or bruv. Every third word was a slurred threat. No one was sober even to back up. Real bunch of champions, absolute weapons. She says, and then the girls again. Sorry, but the girls, Christ. I've seen better dressed crowds outside 3-for-1 kebab shops at 4 a.m. I don't know who told them dressing like rejected Love Island extras was a good idea for a boxing event, but here we are. Fake tan, melting under the stadium lights, mascara running, shoes in hand by 10 p.m., walking barefoot on the sticky urine and vomit floor, getting into screaming matches over a dude in a spray-on Moschino t-shirt who couldn't land a punch on his own reflection. Bro, she is funny, bro. I don't know who she... Shout out to Amy, bro. I gotta meet Amy, bro. Amy is hilarious. She said, honestly, the atmosphere was like if you took a football away from a bunch of hooligans, handed them 200 euros worth of cheap coke, and told them they were the main event. At one point, I think a full-scale riot nearly kicked off near the hot dog stand, and honestly, it would have been more entertaining than the actual fights, which again, I saw none of. Zero, nada, zilch, just a bunch of wasted craning at giant blurry screens and pretending they knew what the hell was going on. Stadium fights have to end. Stadium fights are crap. You pay hundreds to see nothing, surrounded by drunk, coked up clowns cosplaying as 1990s football hooligans, and you leave with a headache, a stained pair of trainers, and a serious need to reconsider your life choices. Next time, I'm staying home with a bag of crisps, a 6-pack, and a 4K TV. Bruh, she has me crying. She says no piss puddles, no coked up Kevins, smack... She said, hold on. She said, no piss puddles, no coked up Kevin shouting, smack him, bruv. Smack him, bruv. No regret, just a fight. Imagine that. Hey, shout out to Amy, man. Can we get a round of applause for Amy, man? Can we please get a round of applause for Amy Kaplan? I'm not saying you got to agree with her, but gosh dang, she let her opinions be heard and seen, man. Shout out to Amy, man. I got to clap it up, man. Bro, I thoroughly enjoyed that article, bro. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I thoroughly enjoyed that article. I was crying, bro. I was like a little kid holding my stomach, kicking my feet in the air because I was reading it this morning on my back. Doing abs, you feel me? Oh man, that joke was too funny, man. Keenan said she sounds bitter. I ain't gonna lie, I ain't gonna lie, man. I don't know if you ever been to Mardi Gras, in New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? New Orleans. That's kind of how it is. Like, it's fun if you're drunk. If you're one of the coked up drunk guys or girls, it's fun, right? But there is, like, if you're not and you're sober, like, of course, Mardi Gras, you know, you're supposed to have fun. So I had a lot of fun when I went. But she's right. Like, there's a lot of piss and vomit and sometimes even shit, you know, because in New Orleans, they have the cops that walk around on the horses. And if you walk around on horses, I don't know if you ever been around or seen horses, they shit while walking. So the police, even the police, are contributing to the filth in the street. You know what I'm saying? Because of the horses. And then so you're mixing shit with drunkards, you know, they're gonna pee everywhere. And then you got people that are drinking, so they're gonna throw up everywhere. All that, they call it, they literally have a name for it. They call it bourbon juice. And it sounds like a drink, right? No, it's not a drink. You drink bourbon juice, you're probably gonna die. Bourbon juice is what they call the concoction of shit, piss, and vomit in the streets of New Orleans during Mardi Gras. So she's absolutely right. You don't want to, like, you could tell who the tourists are by how they dress at Mardi Gras from the ankle down. Because if you have on nice shoes in Mardi Gras, then you've never been here before. You're new to this, because them shoes are going to be thrown away by the end of the night. 2 hours in, you got to throw away your shoes or go back to the hotel and switch. For real, you got to wear your K-Swiss, your cheap shoes out there, man. Your Payless shoes, your Shaqs. No disrespect to Shaq, shout out to Shaq. But you got to wear your cheap shoes at Mardi Gras, bro. And that's what she's explaining, you know. I just thought that was funny, man. Like, whether you agree with her or not, that was hilarious, man. Amy was spitting, man. Hey, shout out to Amy, bro. You know what I'm talking about? Hey, man, just chill out and watch it from the crib next time, Amy. Watch it from your humble abode, so you ain't got to go through that, because my heart goes out to you, sis. Because you go to watch a fight or you go to watch a show and people just acted belligerent and ignorant whole time, man. But I ain't gonna lie, man. The way she was describing the women, you know what I'm talking about? I'm not saying I want a cheap woman every day, but hey, some days, you know what I'm talking about? But hey, I might have to slide out there, you feel me? Shout out to my guy, George the Last Patriot, dropping that bread, that cheese, that, hold on, no, that's the big dub, man. That's the 20 piece. He coming through like a butcher coming through, Edge. My boy coming through like a boss. I'm not gonna lie, man. That's the big 20 piece, man. Shout out to my guy George, man, dropping that graffiti on the chat walls, man. I'm not gonna lie, man. I got to run that back again because he came through like a boss. We ain't see a $20 donation in a little minute, man. You know, the kings of the $20 donation was freaking, the kings and queens was Ty, Karma, and Ty and Karma before. They would always drop it. But now we got some new folks in the 20 piece, man. I appreciate you, brother. That means a lot. Thank you so much. He said, respectfully to you, I'm of the opinion that Crying Ryan quit against Tank. Hey, I'm not going to plant my flag that he didn't quit. You know, I just don't think he quit because, you know, bro, you get punched in the stomach, man, that means something. You know what I'm saying? I think that he legitimately couldn't continue. But if somebody's of the opinion like you are that he did quit, I'm not gonna fight you. You know what I'm saying? I don't even like Ryan anyway. But to me, as a former boxer, maybe it's because it's a boxer in me, as an amateur boxer, I've never quit. I've never been dropped, you know, thank God for that. I've been in there with pros, light heavyweight pros, world champion pros, and retired pros, and people that are amateurs as well, aspiring pros. I've never been dropped, but I've been in situations where I felt like, man, I had to think about it, because like one time my eye was messed up. I couldn't see, and it wasn't because a punch. It was because I used to ride my motorcycle and I literally had eye issues, and it re-aggravated a cut in my eye when his glove had like a little piece of the glove was ripped or something, and it got in my eye, and it re-aggravated my my scratch in my eye that was due to me riding my motorcycle and repeatedly dust and dirt getting in my eye, and I couldn't see, and I literally, my vision was messed up for like a week. And I should have stopped sparring, but the pride in me wouldn't let me. And I literally couldn't see. I'm over here taking punches, but you know, I knew the guy couldn't hurt me, and I was throwing back, and it was my pride. So, but I know the situations to where you could feel like you wanted to quit and you still keep going. So that's why I give the fighters a benefit of the doubt. But if you think Ryan Garcia quit, or you think anybody else quit, I'm not gonna fight you on it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just of the position where, even though I don't like Ryan Garcia, I don't think he quit. I think it was a legitimate punch that he just couldn't stand up from. But let's keep it going. He said, respectfully to you, and respectfully to you, my brother. He said, I'm of the opinion that Crying Ryan quit against Tank. Crying Ryan quit against Tank. Yeah. He got right up after the 10 count. Yeah. As if completely recovered and was just waiting on the ref. Yeah. Like a longer Tyson versus Spinks after the second KO. I can't argue that, man. But what I can say is that my boy came through and blessed us with a big $20 donation, man. Shout out to you, man, coming in like a boss. Yes, sir. Mike, Mike is crazy, bro. Yes, sir. He said, Great Britain invented the sport of boxing, so I can see how you lot from the USA don't get it. Maybe you invented boxing, you'd understand that we spend English pounds, not euros. What are you talking about, Mac 10 Ninja? I read an article, and you're mad because I read an article. You said the USA came out of England. That is why you speak English. Respect where you come from. I literally said that England has the best fans. Yeah, we could tell you're an idiot. Hey, shout out to Mac 10 Ninja. But Mac 10 Ninja, go ahead and take that Mac 10 and put it to your dome because you're a freaking idiot. You gotta get out your sensitive feelings, you know what I'm saying? And if you came over here in the USA, you'd probably be bootlicking right now. You know what I'm talking about? You're goofy behind. What are you talking? I literally said that England has the best fans in boxing. And you're mad because I read an article that hurt your feelings? Get out your feelings, man. Why you so sensitive, man? I can tell wherever you come from, you was raised by a bitch. How about that? And that's why, your comment reflects that.
Nigga, you's a bitch.
Facts. So respect that. You know what I'm talking about? And he said, good to know at my age, I'll probably never go to shout out to my guy B-Dot. Yeah, don't go to Mardi Gras, bro. If you can't take that, don't go to Mardi Gras. Don't go to Mardi Gras, man. Yeah. Hey, shout out to Mac 10 bitch in the chat. You know what I'm saying, man? Complaining over an article being read. That's something I could tolerate in my 20s. Yes, sir. Yeah. I ain't gonna lie, man. B-Dog, like I said, it's fun. Don't get it twisted. It's fun. But yeah. I mean, I would go. Yeah, I'm in my 30s. I would still go. But I wouldn't recommend it. Like I said, yeah, I wouldn't recommend it if you can't take all that. Like, it's nuts. Oh, Mike Mazik. I don't think he meant he meant to I don't think he meant to shout out to my guy Boys, man. Man, Amy is crazy, bro. What you reading, man? It sounds like a stadium review. Hey, boys. Hey, man, Amy was going in, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Shout out to Amy, man. Amy had me crying laughing, bro. Amy had me crying, man. But he said I'm only going for the breast. For hey. They be out there too, man. Like, if you talking, bro, I'm talking about, and that's the thing about Mardi Gras too. Like, when you buy the beads, they really be going crazy for the beads. I don't get it. Like, you get the beads from the freaking dollar store, bro. You get a bag of 50 beads for $1. You know what I'm talking about? So, or my bad. Let me say, you get a bag of beads for €1. My bad, because that offends Mac 10 Ninja. I don't care if you spend euros. I don't care if you spend rupees. I don't care if you spend pounds. I can tell that you a broke bitter bitch. You know what I'm saying? You don't spend nothing except spending your time trying to critique others because you a hater. You know what I'm talking about? Get some business, man. You know, I know you don't spend nothing. You don't spend nothing. Not a peso. Not a gosh dang nothing. You know what I'm saying? We can tell you broken, mad with your broke ass. He said, but yeah, it's crazy, man. I remember I saw, and now I don't know for sure, but there was 2 girls, and it was on like the 3rd floor balcony, and they had a whole bunch of cameras. To this day, I think it was a porno shoot. I'm not gonna lie, that's what I think. But you know, they was going crazy with the flashing and stuff too. So, you know, in the middle, people be in a relationship, they got their girl topless and stuff like that. But anyway, but yeah, Mardi Gras is yeah. So like I said, if you're gonna go to Mardi Gras, do not wear your good shoes. Wear the cheap ones. You know, matter of fact, go buy some cheap shoes that you're willing to discard after the fact, because not only is it gonna be messed up, it's gonna stink too. You know what I'm saying? We speak American. Talk to him, B-Dog. We speak American. Hell you talking about? The hell? It's so crazy, bro. It's only boxing fans, B-Dog. It's like, it's only boxing fans that it's like you choose to get offended, bro. Like, you choose to get offended. I don't understand. I literally said multiple times that I think English fans are the best. And I just read the experience of an article. You think I wrote the article? And even if I did, who cares? Shout out to Amy for expressing herself, because you have goofies out there that will attack her because she's just voicing her opinion and her displeasure. She paid money. Of course she should be able to enjoy herself. And if she didn't enjoy herself, she should be able to freely write a review of her experience, whether it's good or bad, whether you agree or disagree. Why do you have to attack somebody because you don't agree with how they feel about a boxing match experience? You're not them. Stop being offended. That shows that you were raised by a bitch, man. It is what it is, man. And you feel comfortable on the internet because that's the only way that you could express yourself without consequential repercussion, because you soft. You probably walk around in life like this with your face down. You probably don't even look at anybody, man. Your life is sad, bro. It's not my fault that you ain't got no confidence, you know, but the internet gives you a false sense of confidence because you think that this keyboard is some barrier or makes you Superman. Like you weak, bro. That's what it is. A lot of people that are tough on Twitter and critique a lot of people to the extent where it's just ridiculous, or you try to make everything a negative interaction, is because you're unhappy in your life, bro. And if you're unhappy, that sucks, you know. But you're not going to gain happiness by talking trash on the internet. In fact, you're just going to make you less fulfilled, and you're going to be more jealous of the people that are doing something that you think that you're hurting by talking trash to them on the internet. Like, I could care less whether you like me or not, but you're here. You know me, I don't know you, and that's how it's going to stay forever. You know what I'm saying? You're going to live meaningless, you're going to die meaningless, bum. But anyway, let's keep it going, man. I just had to go off on that goofy real quick. So let's get it, man. Let's keep it going. He said, moving on, man. I think that the fight should not be a rematch, and I do think that these article about UK fans, I think is true, you know, because on the outside looking in, I think that UK fans are great for boxing, you know, but there's always pros and cons, and it's not just UK fans experience. Like, if you go to a hockey game, right, you see when hockey went you see what happens when there's a hockey championship. All of a sudden things are getting vandalized, stores are getting looted, cars are getting flipped, places are getting burned down, you know what I'm saying? Cars are getting burned down, and arson's being committed because a hockey team won a championship. And you see it in football too. When the Philadelphia Eagles won, people's things were getting vandalized. So it's just belligerence everywhere. But do you want to be a part of it? Like, it's cool to see from the outside looking in. I see it on my TV. But if you were there, man, I'm not gonna lie, I probably done fought a couple bitches, you know, because people do get obnoxious, and they just don't know how to have fun and be civil simultaneously, you know. So shout out to Amy, man. I wish she had a better experience, but I ain't gonna lie, the way she described the women, hey, I'm not advocating for that. That is disgusting, but hey, sometimes you gotta get a little low, you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, man, I also want to speak on the aftermath of the fight, man. Some people were being criticized after the fight, you know. Eddie Hearn, I like Eddie Hearn a lot. You know, I think he's funny, but he does sometimes he puts himself in a bad position, and he's a promoter, right? Do I think that all the promoters have the best interest of the fighters? Absolutely not. In fact, I think the contrary. I think that the majority of the promoters don't have the interest of the fighters at heart at all, unless it's the big fighter. Like, for example, do I think Eddie Hearn cares about I don't know, who's on his roster? Ray Ford. Do I think he cares about Ray Ford, the American fighter, as much as he cares about Anthony Joshua, the big mega star English fighter? No, I think he cares about Anthony Joshua the most, and coincidentally, he makes him the most money. Do I think he cares about I don't know, Richardson Hitchens as much as he cares about Conor Benn? No, I don't think he worried about him because he doesn't generate as much money. Do I think he cares about, give me somebody else, I don't know, who's a matchroom fighter? Do I think he cares about not Sandy Ryan? Yeah, do I think he cares about Sandy Ryan as much as he cares about, I don't know, give me another star that's on Matchroom, or a budding star, you know, Dimitri Bivol? No, I don't think he does. And because I think that they make him more money and they make him shine more. And part of that is kind of human nature to a certain extent, but I think that you should always have decency about you. And I don't think it's just Eddie Hearn. I think that goes for any promotional company. When you talk about Oscar De La Hoya, Golden Boy, Al Heyman and PBC, Bob Arum and Top Rank, they care about some fighters more than they care about others, right? You know, Bob Arum, of course, it'll be his golden boys are Lomachenko. Right now, he's very fond of Keyshawn. I don't know how long that'll be, but and Manny Pacquiao and others, right? So I don't think that they treat all of them fairly. I do think they take advantage of them, and like I said, that goes for every promoter. But now Eddie Hearn is being criticized for letting Conor Benn even fight in this under these circumstances, right? Because he's a smaller guy coming up, right? all of a sudden, and not all of a sudden, I mean, I've noticed it and I've said this, but all of a sudden now the majority of people are coming out the woodworks and critiquing Eddie Hearn, saying that, oh, you know, he did Conor Benn an injustice. And I do think it was unfair. Like I said, I think it was unfair on both sides. I think Chris Eubank was compromised, and I think Conor Benn was compromised. And those two compromised fighters fighting each other. You know, whether one was more compromised than the other, that's debatable. But what's not debatable is that these two fighters fought under circumstances that weren't ideal, right? And so people are coming out and critiquing Eddie Hearn, and one of the people that are critiquing him is Billy Nelson. I know Billy Nelson may not ring a bell with you, but I know who does. Martin Bakoli, right? The Nigeria, no, he's not Nigerian, excuse me. He's fighting the Nigerian. He's fighting Efe Ajagba, the badman out of Nigeria, and Martin Bakoli is the badman with the big engine coming out of the Democratic Republic of Congo. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Martin Bakoli. His trainer has come out and he said this about Eddie Hearn. He said, how on earth can the promoter, who has a duty to care for the boxers, expect Eubank to drop more weight? So wrong. By whatever means you gain an advantage, just get your boxer to fight at his proper weight. So he's saying two things. One, he's saying he doesn't care about the welfare of Chris Eubank because he wants him to drop more weight at the expense of his well-being. And then he's also saying that he wants that to happen because he knows that his fighter, Conor Benn, is moving up in weight because he's a smaller guy and not fighting at his proper weight class. So he's saying, okay, you disregarding Chris Eubank's health, who's not your fighter, but you're also putting your fighter in a disadvantageous position in Conor Benn and jeopardizing his well-being, right? So Eddie Hearn hits back, and I'm telling you, when I say Eddie Hearn hit back, I'm talking about he hit him. He hit him with a Deontay Wilder right hand. Bow. I ain't gonna lie, bro. Eddie Hearn came back. He said, Billy, I shouldn't even reply to you, but you literally flew a 22 stone, speaking of Martin McCauley, basically saying he's fat, a 22 stone, out of shape, world title challenger from the Congo to Saudi Arabia in jeans and an airplane seat he couldn't fit in. Damn. He said, for a fight on 24 hours notice to get brutally KO'd so you could make some commission. Now to the poo and off you go. Hey, bro, I ain't gonna lie. Eddie Hearn ethered him, bro. And to be fair, I think that Eddie Hearn is right. Eddie Hearn is absolutely right. It's like, I'm not saying that Billy Nelson's not also right, but that's like, you can't, it's like, it's like the pot calling the kettle black or the snow calling the clouds white or something like that. Eddie Hearn is absolutely right, bro. Like, you cannot send Martin Bakoli in a fight under them circumstances. And remember, we said it was 2 days. Remember, I said, no, it was 1 day. And remember, I love when I say things and it just gets reinforced by people that know or know more than me about a particular topic. I said it wasn't 24. I said it wasn't 48 hours. I said, you got to remember that most of that time he was spent traveling. And what did I say? He even mentioned the jeans. What did I say about Bakoli? B-Dog, you were here. I said, ain't no way Bakoli gonna fight in skinny jeans. I said it was over. Once I saw him in skinny jeans, the man is 550 pounds with skinny jeans. I said, oh no, it's over with. He ain't got no chance. You know, not only was Billy Nelson in Scotland or wherever he wasn't even in the same country as Martin Bakoli. Bakoli was in the Democratic Republic of Congo on vacation with his family. According to Billy Nelson, from his own mouth, he said Martin Bakoli hasn't thrown a punch since August. If you remember, August was his last fight against Jared Big Baby Anderson. So that means that he's attesting to the fact that Martin Bakoli is nowhere near in fighting form, but they still had the fight. And I'm okay with it. You know why I'm okay with it? Because how could I tell somebody who fights for a living not to fight with the potential to become a millionaire? You know what I'm saying? So that's what he was, and he took advantage of that. But the cold-hearted truth is that Billy Nelson got paid off of Martin Bakoli's going into a fight on 2 days notice without training camp, without the proper preparation, without the proper physique or the mental and the proper conditions, that he got paid off of it. And then now he's turning around and saying that Eddie Hearn is doing something nefarious with his actions, which it is, but sometimes you just got to shut the fuck up, man. Just be quiet, man. Sometimes you just got to be quiet, man. I'm not saying that Billy Nelson is wrong, but you, in this situation, you should do this.
Shut up, bitch!
Because exactly, Billy got caught throwing stones in the glass house. Exactly, we gonna clap back. We gonna clap back. We gonna clap back. Shout out to Ja Rule, man. I think him and his wife just celebrated like their 25-year anniversary, man. Big salute to them, man. Let's clap it up for love. One time for love, man. One time for love, man. We love to see love, man. Shout out to love. I think Ja Rule and his wife just celebrate like something like 2 decades worth of anniversary, man. So that's love, man. That's a whole lot of years, man, to be with the same person, and that's a whole lot of fights that you navigated through, a whole lot of disputes and stuff that could have tried to derail you in arguments, and you fought through it. You know what I'm saying? A whole lot of good times. There's some bad times too. Hopefully more good times than bad times. But the fact that you have a successful relationship, I love that, man. We should one time for love, man. But yeah, we gonna clap back. But yeah, baby, hey, I gotta read this again, man. Hold on, I gotta read it again, bro, because this man goes in on Billy Nelson, and I think he's right. I think they're both right. Don't get it twisted. They're both correct, but I think what's his name is more correct. What's his name? I think what's his name? Billy. I think Eddie Hearn in this case is more correct. Because it's like, bro, like, what are you talking about, man? You just put your fighter in one of the most compromising positions, and you were cool with it. You know what I'm saying? And he got dealt with quick by Joseph Parker. And a lot of us, I think I speak for the majority of us, but I'm gonna just speak for myself. A lot of us, well, I think that Martin Bacoli with proper preparation beats the hell out of Joseph Parker. I'm not gonna lie to you. I do. I could be wrong, but I think Martin Bacoli, if Martin Bacoli and Joseph Parker fought under normal circumstances, I'm taking Martin Bacoli. I'm putting my money on Martin Bacoli. And I think I speak for a whole lot of other people. You know what I'm saying? Not saying everybody unequivocally, or categorically, but I think the majority of us would have Martin Bacoli winning. And he got smoked. he got smoked, man. He got smoked in 2 rounds because, it's important to prepare for your opponent, man. This is boxing, man. So, yeah, I think that Billy Nelson was completely out of line, whether or not he was right. Yeah, I think he was right with what he said, but I think sometimes you should be quiet. And I think that was not appropriate for him to speak on this matter because he just obviously put his fighter in a compromising position as well. And you could argue that his fighter was in an even more compromising position than Conor Benn. You know what I'm saying? And Chris Eubank. You could argue for both sides. But yeah, I just thought that was funny, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. These people had me rolling today, man. Shout out to Amy, shout out to Eddie Hearn. But I gotta read this Eddie Hearn again because the way he dropped bombs on him, man. Let me read it again, man. He said, Billy, I shouldn't even reply to you.
Yeah.
But you literally flew a 22 stone.
Yeah.
Out of shape, world title challenger, from Congo to Saudi Arabia, in jeans and an airplane seat that couldn't fit him, for a fight on 24-hour notice, to get brutally KO'd, so you can make some commission. If that wasn't a clapback Thursday for your butt, or a clapback Monday, I don't know what was, man. Shout out to Eddie Hearn, man. That joke was too funny, man. That joke was too funny, man. That was definitely a clapback Monday. Shout out to everybody. I appreciate y'all rocking, man. Shout out to George the Last Patriot, dropping that bread, that cheese, that butter. Yes, sir. Shout out to my guy, George the Last Patriot, man. He's switching the topic. He said, George the Last Patriot says, best pure point guard. Ooh, Isaiah Thomas like Zeke or John Stockton? I got to go with John Stockton, man. That's my guy, man. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm okay. So maybe I'm showing a little preferential treatment, because Isaiah Thomas, Zeke is a former champion, right? So he's a better overall basketball player. But as you ask pure point guard, I don't think that there's a better pure point guard in the history of basketball. Maybe Magic Johnson. I take that back. No, Magic Johnson's better. But after Magic Johnson, I would say John Stockton is the best pure point guard we've seen. I think Chris Paul's up there as well, but from a facilitator standpoint, yeah, I go with John Stockton, and that's my favorite point guard. I ain't gonna lie too. So but I'm not showing favoritism. I'm being objective. I'm being unbiased. Might be a little preferential, but slightly. But no, I mean, from an assist standpoint, you can't argue with the numbers, right? And I think it's there, but from a winning standpoint, from a success standpoint, Isaiah Thomas is definitely one of the top 5 point guards of all time. So is John Stockton, but he never won a championship. So I would rank Isaiah Thomas higher on the better basketball player scale than John Stockton. But as far as a pure point guard, which is your question, the only person I'll put over John Stockton as a pure point guard is Magic Johnson. Yeah, John Stockton is, in my personal opinion, I think John Stockton is, I remember when I used to be a point guard, I used to try to play like John Stockton as far as facilitating. Even when I play NBA 2K, that's why people love playing with me, because I set people up, man. I'm not a Tyler Hero, Kyrie Irving type of guard. I'm a set people up, try to facilitate, get them assists in, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so I just thought that was funny with Eddie Hearn, man. And one more thing, shout out to Eddie Hearn. I think he's right. You know, at the end of the day, whether you agree with him or not, of course, it's going to put Martin Bakole in a better financial situation. But to what extent? You know, that was a very dangerous fight for Martin Bakole to take. You know, same with Joshua Padley as well. Joshua Padley took a dangerous fight, but at least he had 4 days notice, and at least he was actually in the gym a little bit. He wasn't fully in the gym because obviously he's an electrician, right? But he was partially in the gym. Martin Bakole wasn't even around a gym. He wasn't even with his trainer. He wasn't even on the same continent. Forget a country. He wasn't in the same country, nor was he even on the same continent as his trainer. And you took that fight, you know. So do I think it was worth it? Yeah, of course. You know, it's worth it because you have an opportunity to do what you love. Even if it's a short notice, it could potentially change your life for the better financially, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, too, we got to acknowledge what it is. And what it is was a bad situation as far as to have success. Your chances of success were severely limited, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, it just is what it is, man. It is what it is, you know. So I thought that was you could critique. Everybody is not in a position where they should be able to critique. But you know, when you have Twitter and you have social media, everybody thinks that it's appropriate for them to run their fuck box. Sometimes you should just shut your pie hole, bro. Like, just shut your pie hole, bro. Like, you're not in an appropriate position to have an opinion on this matter. And that's the thing about social media. It makes people think that they have to have an opinion. You don't have to have an opinion, bro. You can just shut up. It's okay. If you're not familiar with a topic, if you're not aware of a situation, just be quiet. And especially if you're not qualified or coming from a good position to where you could offer a fair opinion or make a good assessment without having your own deeds brought into question, then just be quiet, bro. It's like when Adam Azim, you know, Brandon Glanton said that stuff about the brain damage. I'm not saying it's right to say that, but don't take it out of context, especially if you're Adam Azim and you just told Dalton Smith the other day that you want to kill him. We remember that, bro. We remember. And if I don't remember, somebody else gonna remember. You know, it's like Tony Bellew talking down on Brandon Glanton, and you said that you wanted to decapitate David Hay. So I'm not saying quantity makes quality, but it at least means that if you did something similar, then you should probably shut the hell up, man. So that's one thing. But social media is good because I could get in contact with dope people like Boys or Oscar or B-Dog or George the Last Patriot. We don't have to be in direct vicinity of each other or close proximity of each other, and we could still interact. That's why social media is dope. You know what I'm saying? You could speak with people and keep in communication with others and network and stuff like that. But it's also very bad because it's making people too comfortable with being very vocal and expressive on stuff that they have no business talking about. You know what I'm saying? And not only is it doing that, make you comfortable do that, but it's also making you comfortable saying things without consequential repercussion. I'm sorry, I'm not an advocate. I'm not advocating for violence, but I do think that I definitely don't want to live in a world where people could say whatever they want to whomever they want, to whomever they want without repercussions, bro. I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of us are men, you know, women too, you know, shout out to women and shout out to men, but a lot of us are adults, and part of being mature and maturation is having a filter, you know what I'm saying, and thinking about what you say or maybe not say it at all, you know, because at the end of the day, especially between men, if you say something, I might punch you in your mouth. I might kick you right in your, you know what I'm saying? I might do that, you know, and that's what makes everybody act respectfully towards each other to some degree, because if you say something crazy, a fight might just break out. And that's okay. You know, I think that people that think that they can say whatever they want to whomever they want without consequential repercussions because you're a pussy and you probably shouldn't be saying what you're saying anyway. You know what I'm saying? It's never okay for a guy who's weak to talk trash to a guy who's strong and then hide behind, oh man, you know, you better not hit me because it just shows that you're immature. No, it shows that you're immature because you can't control your words and your verbiage, and you think that's okay. It's never mature to talk out the side of your neck to somebody and then try to make it seem like, oh, this person is somehow less of a human because they want to react in a physical manner. No, sometimes some words could get your ass whooped. And let's talk about wars, right? The other guy, that goofy that came in here, he was talking about the Revolutionary War and all this other stuff. How do you think wars start? Wars start usually between two old, itchy-gritchy old men that can't even wipe their drawers by themselves. They get in a disagreement, and then they want to send young men to go kill themselves for it. Wars start because of words. World wars start because of words. So if you want to say, oh, you know, you're improper or immature or or wherever other synonym there is for bad, because you want to physically harm somebody if they said something crazy to you, then I just think that you're ridiculous and you're out of touch with life. That's how life goes. I'm not saying that if someone calls you stupid, you should punch them in the mouth. I'm not saying that. You know, I'm not saying that every slight should result in a physical altercation, but I'm saying that there are some words that you could say that could get you slapped in the mouth. And that I would never want to live in a world where it's otherwise. That's how you learn respect. You know what I'm saying? That's how you learn respect. Shout out to my guy Isaiah dropping that bread, that cheese, that butter.
These biscuits
My guy is dropping some words of prosperity and virtuosity. My boy is dropping some virtues you should live by. He said, be swift to hear and slow to speak. The reason why I say prosperity is because you will prosper that way as well. If you just try to listen and don't react impulsively and don't be quick to speak, you will go up the ladder in many places. You know what I'm saying? Whether you talk about from a relationship standpoint, conversation standpoint, or even a corporate ladder standpoint. You know, sometimes, you know, being quiet could come off as being intelligent, even if you're not. You know, it is what it is. He said Magic was the broad of his era, and in that he could play in any position. That's a fact. And at an elite level. Yep. The speed of a guard and the size and strength of a center. Yep. Facts. I may be too pessimistic, but the Times Square boxing thing can cause a huge chaos, especially if there's no proper security or punishment. Yeah, but boys, remember, it's that you're right, that could happen, but it's invitation only. So it's not just everybody. It's not like, oh, you know, me and you want to pull up to Times Square randomly, right? And you'd be like, oh, I want to watch the fight today. No, we can't go. We will be denied access. Access denied. It's a closed event. You know what I'm saying? So just because it's a closed event doesn't mean that a chaos can't break out or an argument or a dispute can't break out. But when it's a closed event, it's a little less likely to happen because it's more of a controlled environment as opposed to a chaotic environment. So yeah. Must watch Irony and Kendrick squabble up, people trying to see, months in the making. We need that 24/7. We need a 24/7 for that. Facts. But last thing I wanted to talk about was I watched an interview with William SCULL today. You know, William SCULL, I know a lot of people aren't too familiar with him, but he's Canelo's next opponent, you know, the face of boxing. He's coming through and fighting William SCULL, man, you know, the IBF champion that's undefeated, that we should know. If you watch boxing, I feel like you should, I'm not gonna say know all the champions, but you should know the majority of the champions. And I think that it behooves the sport when we respect the champions, right? He's an undefeated champion. He has the IBF. This is an undisputed title fight, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. If William SCULL wins, he's gonna be undisputed because Canelo has the WBC, WBA, and WBO belt. The only one he's missing is the IBF, which William SCULL has. So William SCULL was able to obtain that belt by beating Vladimir Shishkin, another undefeated fighter. So they fought for a vacant belt that Cinnamon gave up because he didn't want to fight William SCULL, who was a mandatory. And I don't blame him because people don't know William SCULL. But we got to stop conflating and confusing and mixing the fact that someone is unknown, relatively unknown, or you're unfamiliar with them, or your lack of familiarity with them. We need to stop making that synonymous with being bad. Just because you don't know them doesn't mean that they're not a good fighter. You just haven't heard of them yet. And the reason why I say that is because, you know, it's the same people that don't know all the champions, that don't know, you don't have to know all the fighters, of course. You don't have to know all the champions, but if you don't know all the champions, then why are you making these judgments saying that, oh, this fighter is good or bad or not? You don't know them. You know what I'm saying? So there was a time when Canelo was unknown. There was a time when Floyd Mayweather was unknown. There was a time when Manny Pacquiao was unknown. And while speaking of Manny Pacquiao, while Manny Pacquiao was unknown, he took a couple L's to unknown folks. You know what I'm saying? But he still bounced back and became the legendary fighter that he was. Floyd became the legendary fighter that he was. Dimitri Bivol wasn't known until he beat Canelo. Was Dimitri Bivol bad until he beat Canelo? No, he just was unknown. You were unfamiliar with Dimitri Bivol until he beat Cinnamon. Does that mean that he was bad until he beat Cinnamon? He suddenly got good when he beat Cinnamon? No, he was the same person. He just came on your radar. His profile was raised because of a victory that he had. So do not confuse the familiarity or lack of with a fighter being good or not. Do I think William SCULL beats Canelo? Hell no. With all that said, I think Cinnamon wins, but at the same time, we should respect the fighters, especially when they're champions. He was good enough to become a champion. There's a lot of good fighters out there that have never became a champion. It's so funny that so many people will say Ryan Garcia is good. You know what Ryan Garcia has never been? A champion. Oh, okay. But we're comfortable saying that William SCULL is bad and he's a champion. Undefeated champion right now. Ryan Garcia is not undefeated and he's never been a champion. Yet he's headlining a bill with a guy who was the youngest undisputed champion in the 4-belt era. Or is on the male side in Devin Haney. Olympian in Jose Carlos Ramirez. A former champion in Rolly Romero, who he's fighting. Well, I mean, they're headlining together, but you get what I'm saying. He's the front of the bill. Ryan Garcia is. Teofimo, who's a champion right now at 140 pounds, and he's a fringe undisputed champion. Well, he's not undisputed, but in his head, he's undisputed. So I'm just saying things don't make sense, man. Shout out to my guy George the Last Patriot, dropping that bread, that cheese, that butter. My guy George said he's dropping another virtue on us. He said, sometimes those who don't hear must feel. Amen. I tell people all the time, man. Hey, man, sometimes there's some people out there in this world that they can look and see that the stove is hot. There's some people in this world, they can't look and see the stove is hot. They got to touch it. Let that bitch get burned. That's all I say. And then people say, oh, you wrong for that. No, I'm not wrong for that. You could see that it's burned just like I could see it got burned. I mean, you could see that it's hot just like I could see that it's hot. Some people can't. It's not enough to see that something's hot. Some people got to touch it. Well, then when you touch it, you might get burned. And if you get burned, I'm not going to feel bad for you. So similarly, I'm saying that some people could see that, oh, I might not talk. It might not be in my best interest to talk trash to this person because this person might slap the hell out of me. Some people could see that, but some people want to test it. Some people want to test it. And when you test it, you get tested. That chin might get tested. And it's okay, man. Some people got to get that butt whooping, man. And then you won't do that no more. It's like that guy. Now, this is kind of extreme, but it's like that guy that's a YouTuber. I don't remember his name right now, but I talked about it before last year sometime. He was playing pranks on people, and he was harassing this one guy in the middle of the mall in public. You don't know what this guy's going through. You don't know what kind of day this guy's having. He was an Uber driver, right? The guy was an Uber driver picking up a meal from like a Chinese spot in the middle of the mall. I don't remember where they're at, the location. And some big dude, he's a tall dude too. He's like 6'5". He's an American guy, white guy, a white American guy. And he was harassing some little small, another white guy. I'm assuming white American, another guy who's like in a jacket, and he had glasses. Having glasses don't make you nerdy, but he looked very nerdy and unassuming and probably quiet. And he probably doesn't like to be out in public. You know what I'm saying? And the guy just kept bothering him in the middle of the mall, bro. Kept bothering him. Hey, man, give me your food, man. That's my food now. Give me your food. He was just trying to bully him. And you know, he had it on camera, you know, because people think those types of pranks are funny. And you know what the dude did? The guy tried to walk away. He tried to escape. He did everything he could to avoid. I really commend him because he did everything he could to avoid the altercation. And you know what he did? He pulled out that blicky and went to clicky. And the dude got shot in the middle of the mall for playing stupid on a Tuesday and messing with somebody over Chinese food because you think it's funny. Because you want to get likes from strangers that you don't know. You want to get affirmation from people that you don't know on the internet. Because you're a lame and you're a goofy. And his ass got shot and people feeling bad for him. Freak that. I don't feel bad for him. He should have shot him twice. Y'all ever seen Zombieland? He should have double tapped him. Pop, pop. He should have hit him again. I don't care if people get mad. He should have got him twice. He should have double tapped him, you know? But he shot him and got up out of there. You know, and they dropped the charges. Shout out to, I think that's great. I'm not advocating for people to use excessive force, but the point is I'm also not advocating for a world where you could just bully people for no reason that you don't even know because you want to put it on YouTube and get a couple laughs. You see what I'm saying? I think the dude, I'm gonna be honest, I think the dude is weak for shooting him. I would have punched him, but you know, he shot him. But he did, in his defense, he did try to avoid the altercation. He didn't start. Now if I saw this other video with these two black American guys, they were arguing and one guy punched the other dude and the other dude punched him and he was getting the better of him. And then the same guy who started the altercation pulled out a gun. That's wrong. You can't start the altercation and also use excessive force because you're losing. That's wrong. But this guy, he was getting picked on. He tried to avoid it. He asked the dude to stop. He tried to escape. He tried to retreat. And the dude kept pressing it. And he pulled out that blicky. You know what I'm talking about? And it got hot. He pulled out the heat and it got real hot. And then they investigated it and they dropped the charges. I think that was a perfect. Finally, you know what I'm saying? That's one of the few instances where the judicial system worked. But, you know, maybe he had the complexion for the protection. I don't know. But yeah, I think that was a proper outcome. Shout out to my guy Al Booga, big member in the building. Shout out to my guy Ty, big member in the building. He said, was he Somali? No, he wasn't Somali. It was two white American guys. He said, "Oh, I heard, but yeah, I heard, yeah, I did a video about it, man, reaction to it. Yeah, I think that's great. I think that's great. And if hey, what Drago say? God forgive me, I'm not wishing death on anybody, but if he dies, he dies. You chose to do that. It's like if you go and hop in a crocodile infested pool, and I'm supposed to feel bad for you because you knew the crocodiles were there and you got your leg bit off. Why would I feel bad? I mean, you put yourself in that situation. That situation was completely unavoidable. He wasn't driving down the interstate and got hit by a random car. He wasn't walking, gallivanting through the neighborhood and got hit by a random bullet. No, bro. He asked for that. He just didn't know it was going to be like that. You know, it is what it is, man. It is what it is, bro. You want to go hop in a lion cage and get bit by a lion. Why would I feel bad? There's people that get hurt and harmed and they don't put themselves in that situation. They get harmed because they're probably doing something nice and they get mistreated or something like that. That's the people I feel bad for. I don't feel bad for people who put themselves in harm's way and they get harmed. You put yourself in harm's way trying to harm somebody else. That man probably pissed on himself because he was so embarrassed and scared or whatever it was. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I never feel bad when the bully gets bullied. That's how it's supposed to happen. The bully should always get bullied. You know, he learned he got to wait this week on. Shout out to my guy Kendrick, big member in the building. He said that was also an excuse parents when giving whoopings back. Talk to him, George. Talk to him, George. That's a fact. Back from Yad. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you gotta take them back, Rasta. Sometimes you gotta take them back, man. Sometimes you gotta take them back, man. Man, it's crazy. Yeah, man. He put out the blicky, man. Right in the middle of the mall, laid him down. But anyway, man, back to the William SCULL situation, man. So William SCULL, like I said, put some respect on the champions. I'm not saying that you got to think he's gonna win. I don't think he's gonna win, but I respect this fight, and it's an undisputed fight. You know what I'm saying? I think Cinnamon's gonna win, but I have Cinnamon winning in the majority of the fights that he's involved in. So there's no shocker there. But I will say this: William SCULL was engulfed in some media, in some media attention that he didn't ask for recently, as a result to Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr.'s clash, right? Nigel Benn had disclosed some otherwise private information. I thought he was kind of whack for doing this as a former amateur boxer. You know, I'm not even a professional boxer. I'm not you know, it was just an amateur level. And I live by a code to where what goes on in the gym stays in the gym. The gym is like Vegas. So I think it's kind of weak. Not kind of, I think it's very weak. Every time, I know it's more accepted now. It's more publicly accepted because of social media and stuff like that. But I think every time a fighter comes out and discloses sparring information to try to boost their profile, I think it's whack. Now, if you're using it as a tool in order to build the promotion of the fight, that's different. But if you're just randomly letting out sparring footage, I don't care if you're somebody I like Gervonta Tank Davis, or somebody I don't really care for, like I don't know, like give me a random boxer, Terry Harper. No disrespect, I like Terry Harper, I'm just using random names. Or somebody I like Cinnamon, or you're somebody I don't really care for, like Joseph Parker or something like that. I think it's whack to drop sparring news or information or video, right? Because I think that's just, it's practice. You know, it is what it is. You're just training, and what goes on in the gym should stay in the gym. And that's why I had so much respect for Liam Paro, because Liam Paro was being poked and prodded. Pause. Liam Paro was being poked. No diddy.
No diddy.
Liam Paro was being poked and prodded by an interviewer one time. He was operating in the capacity of an interviewee, and they asked him about his sparring session with Devin Haney and Shakur, and he was like, "Man, that's not really my style." He said, "I don't really talk about my sparring sessions because I think that's private." And they were like, "Well, come on, man, give us something. How'd it go? Did you win? Did you get the better of him?" He was like, "Man, it was good work. It was good, hard work. That's all I could say." He said, I don't really talk about sparring." He said, "I don't think that's the proper thing to do." And I gained so much respect for Liam Paro right there. I always like Liam Paro. And you know, I famously bet that Liam Paro would beat Subaru Matias, even with all the circumstances against him. He's going against the so-called boogeyman. He was going to the hometown backyard of the boogeyman in Puerto Rico, traveling, and he won. You know what I'm saying? Because I make proper assessments, bro. I don't get everything right, but I make assessments, and I don't make it from a biased standpoint. I just objectively judge two fighters and see how they would match up stylistically. But anyway, shout out to Liam Paro for that. But Nigel Benn, who should know better, came out recently and said that Conor Benn stopped William SCULL in sparring. He said that he didn't come out in the 8th round. He didn't come out in the 8th round?
What?
Like, why would you say that? You know what I'm saying? Like, so I know you're trying to build intrigue, like make it seem like, oh yeah, Conor Benn is stopping bigger guys, so he's probably gonna stop Chris Eubank. So I get it, but it's still kind of whack. You could have just said that, oh, you know, my son went in there with a 168 pounder and we got good work in and we stopped him. You didn't have to disclose who it was and maybe let us do some research or figure it out. But you using his name as a way to promote yourself or uplift yourself. Oh, your son. It wasn't Conor Benn. It was his father, Nigel Benn. I thought that was corny. I thought that was whack. And I thought that was, first of all, I think it's fake news.
If you out here getting fake vagina over your fake jury, reality is reality.
Yeah, first of all, I think it's fake news. I do believe William SCULL. I'm not saying that Conor Benn didn't get off on William SCULL. I'm not saying that he didn't get the better of William SCULL, but I don't think that he submitted in the corner because he was just getting pummeled so much and outclassed by Conor Benn. What I think is more accurate is what his trainer disclosed, is that his trainer could be lying and trying to save face too. But what I think is more accurate is that William SCULL was doing something before. Remember, I said this, chat. I said maybe he had an injury. Maybe he was doing something before. Maybe he just sparred like 15 other people. Maybe he was coming from a situation, flying in and he wasn't prepared. And that's what he said. He said they just flew in from having some good work somewhere else. They wasn't prepared to go all those rounds, but they told him they'll do 8 rounds or 7 rounds, and that's what they did, And so I kind of believe that story. But do I also simultaneously think that Conor Benn got the better of him? Yeah. I think so. I think that's probably true, but I don't know the circumstances in which it happened. He said, wait, you could win at practice? Exactly. Yo, shout out to my guy, Just Do. What's good, bro? But yeah, I think William SCULL, William SCULL addressed it today and he was like, yeah, man, he said, first of all, he said that, we had the sparring session. I don't want to get too much into that. He said, I don't think it was right for him to release that information. But he said, even if it's inaccurate or whether it's accurate, he said, it doesn't matter. He said, it's just sparring. He said, he said, I don't think, he said, first of all, it didn't go like that, but he said, I'm not even going to put my energy into defending myself because I have a fight coming up with Cinnamon that I need to prepare for. And I don't want to lose my focus. I don't want to be distracted. But he did say this though. He said, hey, yeah, if he did whoop me like that in sparring, how come it didn't translate to his fight against Chris Eubank? That's what he said. He said, hey, man, is it more important to win a sparring match or is it more important to win a fight? You know what I'm saying? So I thought that was a great answer by William SCULL. You can go check it out just by the Ring magazine. And I just think it's corny to release sparring information, And I think it's also corny as boxing fans to hype up sparring sessions. I'm not saying don't review it. I'm not saying that it's worthless. No, it's something that's interesting, intriguing, and it could be consequential and it could be informative. But to act like a fight is predicated off of sparring, like I said, if you really watch boxing, if you're a pugilist enthusiast like I am, if you're a boxing purist like I know you claim you are, if you're a boxing aficionado, then you know that sparring sessions can go like actual fights could go like the sparring session, and the actual fight can also not go like the sparring session. For example, Frank Martin got the best of Tank in sparring, right? Frank Martin ended up on his back in the real fight. That's one case where the sparring session didn't go as well as the actual fight didn't go as well as the sparring session for the person that released the information. And then on the flip side, we have Daniel Dubois. The rumor was that Daniel Dubois whooped on AJ in sparring. And then that whooping translated to Wembley Stadium. And he had Anthony Joshua looking like a tip drill video. Had a face down, ass up, looking like a stripper. So that's another scenario where the sparring session went like the actual fight. And on the flip side, I could stick with Daniel Dubois, Triple D, right? Daniel Dynamite Dubois, according to Philip Hergovich, he was sent to the hospital during their sparring session, right? And then when it came to the actual fight, Daniel Dynamite Dubois dropped bombs on Philip Hergovich to the point where the doctor stopped it and he ended up going to the hospital. So it's like, yeah, we just got to take these sparring sessions with a grain of salt, unless you're gonna, unless you're trying to build up the fight, then I get it. But if you're just saying it to randomly say it, like, no disrespect, I like Tank, man. Let me pull out my GTD chain. Yeah, shout out to my guy, Just Do, man. He said, I agree 1,000,000%. Yeah, it's like, shout out to the guy, Just Do, and shout out to my guy, Gervonta Tank Davis. I'm gonna pull out my GTD chain, man. Let me pull out my GTD chain, man. So, I like Tank. I'm not the biggest fan of Bill Haney and Devin Haney, but I rock with them too to a certain extent, especially now with the whole situation with the Ryan Garcia stuff. I'm rooting for Devin Haney to bounce back. But I say this to say this though. I remember there was a couple months ago, it was like towards the end of last year, everybody, like especially content creators, were like hyping up the release footage of Gervonta Tank Davis and Devin Haney. If you're a Devin Haney fan, you're saying, oh, well, Devin Haney won the money. And, Gervonta Tank Davis, he lost the bet. He ended up losing the war or whatever. And if you're a Gervonta Tank Davis fan, you're saying, oh, Devin Haney got stopped in sparring. I think both are true. Devin Haney clearly won the money according to AB's account and according to Bill Haney's account. So he won the sparring session. You can't really win sparring, but he won. And then, but there was an instance where AB jumped in and stopped Devin Haney from getting his head knocked off, you know what I'm saying? Because Tank was on his head top, and they said that Tank was tired and he was out of shape and he wasn't in sparring session. But you know, when you a sparring shape or boxing shape, but when you get the trash talking, especially when you're from the hood or whatever, if you're from a certain situation, sometimes things could just pop off. Like, it don't matter if I'm in shape or not. You got to get it. You know, you talking too much trash. Let's get it. Let's lace them up. You know what I'm saying? Friendly though. So I think that's what happened. But my issue was that these people were talking about it like it was a real fight. Gervonta Tank Davis and Devin Haney had no fight coming up. Gervonta and Tank Davis looked nothing like they did in the sparring session. In fact, I think Devin Haney was like a teenager and Gervonta was just hitting 20 or something like that. So they weren't even the same type of fighters that they are now. I just feel like it was overhyped because, once again, people like a boxer more than they like boxing. And if you're trying to uplift Tank, you're gonna see it like, oh, Tank destroyed him. If you're trying to uplift Devin Haney, you're gonna see the Tank as Devin Haney destroying Tank. And I just feel like it was very silly and it meant nothing. They're nothing like the fighters that they were. They were young. They were both very, they're still young now, but they were even younger then. And it was like almost a decade ago. You know what I'm saying? But like, that's why I say people just got agendas, man. I thought it was interesting to see. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that it wasn't informative, but other than that, what are you drawing from it? There's no conclusion to be drawn how the fight would play out in real time. I think Devin Haney would get knocked out like Gervonta Tank Davis could have done him in the sparring session. But some people think that Devin Haney would outbox him like Devin Haney could have done in the sparring session. So it just matters how you want to look at it. But as far as it being overhyped and overplayed, I thought it was ridiculous, man. And a lot of these grown men were demonstrating female tendencies, man. A lot of these boys exposed the lady of you know what I'm saying? The lady of themselves. A lot of them boys exposed the lady of themselves when that sparring footage dropped. Shout out to my guy Isaiah dropping that bread, that cheese, that butter. Isaiah said Ben stopped Skull, so he will stop Canelo. Facts. He said Ben stopped Skull, so he will stop Canelo. You feel me? So but yeah, I just think disclosing sparring information is weak, and then I think overhyping sparring sessions is weak. Like, you know, like the Rolly Romero and the Ryan Garcia. That's appropriate to be revisited now because they're about to fight and it's hyping up the fight. But even still, I don't think you could draw any conclusion from that whether Ryan Garcia got the better of Rolly or Rolly got the better of Ryan. I don't think it really has too much of an influence on what happens in their fight this upcoming weekend, you know, but it's good to hype up the fight. But other than that, I don't think that if me and pugilism go and spar today, that I should randomly talk about it tomorrow in order to boost up my profile and disrespect pugilism. You know what I'm saying? I think that's kind of corny. But anyway, like I said, Skull responds to the Ben's allegations of him losing. He said it was really being hyped up, and I thought he dropped a bomb on him when he said, hey man, you know, obviously the sparring, I got good work in, but obviously he didn't get that good of work in because he lost the fight he was trying to prepare for. So I thought that was funny, man. And shout out to William Skull. But yeah, man, I'm about to open up the Discord. The Discord is now open, man. Anybody want to join? Pull up. Hold on, give me a second. I'm gonna run this ad while I go blow my nose. My bad. I'm gonna go blow my nose real quick and I'll be right back. The Discord is open. We go open it up to the panel, man. Join up. Let me run this ad and I'm gonna blow my nose and clear my throat. Give me a second. I'll be right back.
Yo, Doc here from your favorite boxing channel, Dr. Boxing Talk. And I want to officially welcome you as a member to the Boxing Talk family, aka BTF. So I want to thank you. Your support is greatly appreciated, and this channel is nothing without you. So what do you get? Well, there's a multitude of perks that you get access to, like special member shoutouts when you enter the chat, and some other additional alerts. Not to mention these fire emojis. Get access to emojis like the GWOAT, the GOAT, the face of boxing, the legend, the Ayo, and the No Diddy. Not to mention, you know, the GTD chain. You got to bring them out, and it wouldn't be the same if we forgot about these biscuits and so many more. Not to mention, if you subscribe to some of the highest tier levels, you get to do things like pick the topic of discussion and you get to have your very own emote. Yes, your ugly mug will be featured on the channel by yours truly. It's just another way for me to give back to my most loyal supporters. And of course, there's even more additional perks than that. But most importantly, you'll get the satisfaction of knowing you're a key, essential, imperative part to keep us going and growing. You know, we get the hustle off the muscle, so it's important that we rock together, you know? And remember, God is good all the time, and God is good. And you know that we prioritize facts over feelings, so that's why you rock with us. So big salute from Dr. Boxing Talk, and yeah, can't wait to see you in the next stream. Thank you for the support.
If I tell you I'm good, probably you will say I'm boasting. But if I tell you I'm no good, you know I'm lying.
He said Ryan enrolled 8 years ago, so that's okay. As long as it wasn't last week, it posted up for the world to see. I agree, Isaiah. My boy Ty says, I don't like sparring being released or mentioned outside the gym because more often than not, people only show or reference moments or show clips to make it look one-sided. Exactly. That's my point. Exactly. Exactly, Ty. Facts. I think it's just overall corny, man. Booger with the biscuits. Yes, sir. He said, you can always reference a session where one fighter got the better of the other. Rolly and Ryan mentioned Ryan dropping Blair. Yep. They mentioned Ryan dropping Blair. I thought that was corny, too. Like, I get they just talking, but yeah, we talked about it yesterday when you talked about dropping Blair Cobbs. Blair the Flair. Woo! Cobbs. And he said, but they didn't mention Blair coming in the next day and dropping Ryan twice. You see? Exactly. See, I didn't even know that. Corny, bro. That's what I be talking about. Exactly what you just said. People are gonna, you know, people have selective memory. You know, he's gonna conveniently recollect him dropping Blair, but conveniently omit the fact that Blair came in the next day and put that pressure on him. You know, that's how people do, bro. Most people, you know, there's some honest people that be like, oh yeah, man, I dropped him, but he dropped me back, you know. Shout out to Ty, man. Ryan used the Tank versus Haney sparring. Yep. But now he got a problem with Rolly using their sparring. Yep. And if you listen to the interview, which I think Chris Mannix is trash once again. Chris Mannix is garbage.
Know your fucking place, trash.
He asked Rolly about the sparring session. He asked, but then when he asked him about the sparring session, and then when Rolly said, hey, hold on, I didn't just drop the sparring session for no reason. Ryan Garcia dropped footage first. And then instead of Chris Mannix following up and be like, oh, really? He just let it go. He just let it ride. I'm telling you, bro, like, I think the zone commentators are garbage. They're trash, bro. The majority of them are trash, bro. Like, you could tell they want to make Ryan Garcia look good. Rolly Romero literally said that he dropped that sparring footage in response to what Ryan Garcia did. But he didn't follow up on that part. You know they got the agenda, man. Anyway. Yeah, it's not just Mannix. It's all the zone commentators are shit. Facts.
Yeah.
He said, amateurs and sparring doesn't matter much.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, Ugas beat Crawford in the amateurs. Look at their careers. I mean, Floyd Mayweather wasn't undefeated in the amateurs. Usyk and Sean Porter fought each other in the amateurs. You know what I'm saying? Gary Anton Russell, I think, beat Jerron Boots Ennis 3 out of the 4 times they fought in the amateurs. So, it is what it is. I'm not saying it doesn't mean anything, but to act like, oh, you won a fight already because the amateurs are sparring is crazy. And like I said, most importantly is like, I sparred before, Ty sparred before. Those of you that sparred before, you had a trainer. A lot of times when you're sparring, it's seldom that you're just in there fighting, man. Like, you're usually in there working on something. You feel me? Like, you could be working on your footwork, you could be working on a certain combination, you could be working on your 1-2s, you know, and your opponent doesn't know that. Only you and your trainer know that. So, I just think it's kind of corny, man. Well, that's just me though, but yeah, man, like I said, once again, the Discord is open. And that's it for my topics today, man. You know what I'm saying? The Discord is now open if anybody wants to join. If not, it's all good. Keep it pushing. If anybody wants to call in. The zone's biased. Yeah, they're very biased, bro. Very biased. It's disgusting. The zone and ring are both bad. Yeah. Well, I ain't gonna lie. I think the ring's a little better. Top rank is terrible too. What's the guy, Mark Kriegel? Mark Kriegel's trash.
Know your fucking place, trash.
Tim Bradley, when he's commentating, is trash.
Know your fucking place, trash.
There's another guy on Top Rank that I'm forgetting his name, but he's trash.
Know your fucking place, trash.
The zone as a whole, collective unit and a gang, trash.
Know your fucking place, trash.
It is what it is, man. Tim Bradley's the world, bro. Anyway, tickets keep dropping to 150. I think anyway event quality. I think Anyway's event qualifies for Make-A-Wish. I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you, bro. Shout out to Anyway, but this was not the right fight to have in America, bro. In my opinion, this was not the fight. And no disrespect to Ramon Cardenas, but I got you, Ty. I see you. No disrespect to Ramon Cardenas, but that's just not, he just doesn't have the profile, you know? I mean, look at what Brian Norman. Brian Norman is going to Japan, and who's he fighting? Brian Norman is going to Japan, and he's fighting a guy that's a regional champion in Japan. You know what I'm saying? He has a belt, and he's a strong contender. You can't go to somewhere else, in my personal opinion, and fight a guy that people don't know, even in that location. I believe Cardenas is American, all right? You can't go to a place and then fight an unknown guy and expect people to turn out. So even though Ramon Cardenas is American, it's like he's not known in America. Jin Sasaki is known in Japan. That's why that works. You know, when Canelo, well, no, Canelo, I keep thinking Canelo and Billy Joe Saunders fought in the UK. They didn't. But, you know, like when Devin Haney goes to Australia, he's fighting a guy that's Australian and he's well known in George Kambosos. You know what I'm saying? So when Anyway came over here, he's fighting in America, but he's fighting in America that's not really, that's relatively unknown. So he's not going to get the backing like that. And that sucks because I wish he would have. I wish people would turn out for him, because then, you know, there'll be a chance that he could come back. But I don't think he's coming back now. They ain't going to bring him back now. That's your over with. Ty, what it do, bro?
Oh shit, I was on mute. Here.
What it do, man? Got King Ty in the building. Mm-hmm. 2 cents was good. What's poppin', man? Talk to me, bro.
I see people rehashing a bunch of old times and talking about sparring and shit, huh?
Talking about that sparring now. They talk about it, man. Like it means everything. It means something, but guys, dang. And Billy Nelson, man, you saw Eddie Hearn clap back at Billy Nelson, bro?
Yeah.
Bro, I was crying, bro. Eddie Hearn funny, man. And shout out to Bacoli. Bacoli's trainer, Billy Nelson, wasn't necessarily wrong, but he was wilding. Like you just,
there's a time and place for that.
There you go, a time and place for that. Exactly. This was not the time, and Twitter was not the place. You know what I'm saying? Chefs make badass fighters. Never see Steven Seagal under siege. Norman is fighting a chef. That's crazy, bro. Jin Sasaki's a good fighter, man. He's on like an 8-fight win streak, man. He only has 1 loss, and that's to Andy Hiroka at 140. That's not a bad loss. This man called Jin Sasaki a chef. And I think that Jin Sasaki while I think that he's a relatively unknown fighter over here, and he's I think his defense is pretty bad, pretty non-existent. I'm gonna be honest, but he has a high-powered offense, man. What's the name can get caught? If he get caught, hey, he might be in trouble, man. He has a high kill percentage, and like I said, I think Brian Norman could take his shots better than Sasaki could take Brian Norman's shots, but still, hey, it's a dangerous fight, man. Definitely is not as appealing as a Jerome Boots in this fight, of course, or a Mario Barrios, but I don't think it's a bad fight. That call out was funny. Nah, that call out was dope. Yep, with the letter. What you think about what do you think is next for Conor Benn and Eubank, Ty?
Run it again at full 60.
You think he's gonna run it again? Man.
Yeah, and that kind of ruined Eddie's plans.
Yeah. Do you think they should run it again?
Not for me.
I don't think so either.
But for their family pride, yeah.
They think they should get 2 fights just like their daddy did 2 fights.
Yeah.
How you think? What you think? How you think it's gonna end? You think the result's gonna change or same result or draw like they dad? That'd be crazy to get a draw like their dads.
Either Eubank wins clean or it's gonna be some mix.
I think so too. He said, "Going to be a firefight for sure." Yes, sir. I think so too. I think that would be kind of like, it'll be poetic if it happens genuinely. Like if they get a draw, that'd be crazy. Right? I ain't gonna lie. I think they should just leave it like that again, like they fathers did. But I don't want it to be a draw because they fathers got a draw type stuff. And I don't want, like you said, I don't want nothing to be like no shaky or shady business to transpire. Just let the result be the result. But I don't think they should fight again. I'm with you. I don't think they should fight again, man. I think Conor Benn should go back to 147. And Chris Eubank should do whatever.
I'll put some bias on it. Hey, Ben, go ahead, fight him. Fight him a third time. That removes you from the equation, and Boots gets to handle business at 47 accordingly.
True. You think Boots is a possibility for Conor Benn?
I think Eddie would be willing to do it. Just so he can bring all that money in for himself.
Ryan Fraser, Boxer Talk Up North. What's good, brethren? Big member in the building. Big Nolf in the building. Just Sasaki got a market of his own in Japan. Aside for the champs, this is the best fight of Norman. Yeah, I agree. Outside of the champs, this is the best fight for Norman. I agree. He has a market. He has his own market. And but with the Conor Benn stuff, I don't know, man. I don't know if I see him. You know what's so crazy though? Ty just got me thinking about this, man. We are in a time where somehow, some way, I'm not saying that back in the day there wasn't fighters that were bigger than the champions, of course, but it's like we're seeing a lot of fighters, particularly American fighters, having to chase contenders. That just doesn't sit right with me, man. We like even the way I phrase the question right now, you know, because I'm a victim of a societal standards, I guess nowadays. Like I'm saying, do you think Boots would get Ben? We should be saying, do we think Ben would get Boots? We should be saying, will Boots give Ben a chance? We're talking like, oh, Conor Benn is the guy. No, Jerome Boots, everybody should be targeting Boots. He's a unified champion. Same with Shakur Stevenson. It's like, oh, he finally gets Zepeda. What do you mean he finally gets Zepeda? Zepeda finally gets Shakur. Zepeda was the freaking mandatory in all sections of the body. He was the undisputed mandatory and didn't get a title shot. It is unequivocally his fault why he didn't get a title shot yet. It's like, I don't know, we're so... It's like we're so quick to call people ducks and this person's scared of this person, but then we let the contenders just skate away without even trying to go for a title. Look at Dalton Smith right now. Dalton Smith called out Adam Azim when he beat, I'll never let him live that down, man. He called out Adam Azim, a guy that's below him, when he could have called for a title shot after he beat Jorge Zepeda. That's why I stopped watching Adam Azim. I was like, oh yeah, this guy's not serious. And it's like, I don't know, man. Somehow, some way, the contenders are being treated like they're the prize. It's a champion, bro. I don't know. Here's what it is, though. I'm just saying it's just a reoccurring theme, man. It's like we say, oh, this fighter's not this fighter's not this. We got a non-champion headlining a fight this weekend with former champions and Olympians on the bill. You know, former champions and current champions. Excuse me, because Teofimo's a current champion too. I don't like Teofimo either, but you know he's a current champion. We got Ryan Garcia headlining. That's crazy, right? Devin Haney's the youngest undisputed male champion in the 4-belt era. This guy's and then we over here shopping around trying to get Boots a fight like he's not the person that should have the target on his back. He's a champion. We're wondering if Conor Benn would fight him. We should be wondering if Jeron Boots Ennis would fight him. And then we got Zepeda fighting everybody but a champion. And pump faking with the call outs too. Crazy, bro. Wild times we live in, man. Crazy times we live in.
We live in a day and age where instead of trying to put on quality fights, promoters think they could just sway the audience, putting out propaganda and just a bunch of bullshit.
Yep. Absolutely. I'm not saying you got to be excited. I acknowledge William SCULL being a champion is not everything. I do think it's something. And, you know, the people that are getting the most heat for, like, I've seen a lot of people complaining about Canelo and SCULL. And that's a championship fight. Undisputed championship fight. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm not saying you got to like it because, of course, like I said, naturally, if it's not Canelo and if Canelo's fighting, he's not fighting Benavidez, we're going to naturally be disappointed. So I get that. But to act like William SCULL doesn't belong, like I saw this person put, oh, William SCULL doesn't deserve the Canelo fight. Huh? A champion doesn't deserve to fight another champion? What do you mean you don't deserve it? He absolutely deserves it. And you say that you don't want him to get it because he doesn't have the people on his resume, like or he does outside of being a champion, he doesn't have the merit or something like that. But deserving, that's why he's getting the fight, because he deserves it. That's the only reason why he's getting the fight. Anybody who's a champion deserves it, you know. Like I just don't understand, man. You ain't gotta like it, you know what I'm saying? It could be a trash fight, okay, but let's not make it something that's not. Yeah, man.
That way.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
That way of thinking, I never understood that because it's like it's kind of divisive in a sense because they only do that with certain guys.
Yep.
They'll make excuses or every concession for somebody else.
Yep.
That they like.
Yep. Yep. You ain't lying.
You're right.
Yep.
On a card where you got, but let me get the math right. 4 champions. 3 unified champions. And 1 former undisputed champion. All that on all those accolades.
And an Olympian.
Like,
and an Olympian.
Like past their prime guys. But they want to show us the drug cheat, never been the champion, coming off of his suspension.
Come on now.
That's what they're promoting us.
Come on now. Yep. Yep. He said, Isaiah said, nah, SCULL don't deserve it. They need to give it to Eubank. He said, what's next for Shishkin? Well, Shishkin, I'm not sure if you know, boys, but so when Shishkin fought William SCULL, right, for the IBF title, it ended up being a title fight. He appealed it, you know, because, you know, only Devin Haney is the first and only person in boxing history to ever appeal anything. Even though he didn't, Devin Haney didn't even appeal it. But even if he did, like people are saying, he's the first person, the only person. But anyway, Vladimir Shishkin appealed his loss to William SCULL, and he won and lost the appeal simultaneously. So he appealed to get it overturned. He lost that part, but his appeal did win, that it was a close enough fight to where the IBF ordered that William SCULL, in the scenario that he wins and retains his belt, he has to fight Vladimir Shishkin next. So if William SCULL wins, then what's next for Vladimir Shishkin? It'll be a fight against William SCULL. Yeah, but good luck with that one. Yeah, but I said, you know, hey, shout out to I got Cinnamon winning. You know, Cinnamon's my guy, so I will admit my bias there. But yeah,
that sounds similar to the Loma appeal.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
He lost the appeal like for the fight decision, but they gave him a little concession on the back and let him keep his rank in two sanctioning bodies.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And they gave him opportunity for a rematch too, right?
Yeah, the rematch option was first, but they said they didn't want that.
Oh, okay. I just wanted you to say that. You know,
Eagles Clemus was like, no. My client, he won in a ring. He wants his win.
Oh, okay. So you don't want a rematch, but he just wants to win. But Devin Haney pussy though. because he wanna take somebody to court for cheating him.
It's the popular narrative.
Popular narrative, bro. It's crazy. Anyway, is it the lack of
nasty work?
Nasty, bro. Is it the lack of? Well, let me read Ryan's first. He said, apparently Turkey wants to rematch. That's probably the safest fight for Eubank. He gets destroyed by any elite. So that's the thing. I don't think he would fight any elite at 168 though. I think he would just be in line for the Canelo fight, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know, Ryan, but I think that this fight was a big enough win. You know, remember they were already in discussions for Cinnamon. So now I feel like that's going to strengthen your negotiation power and your leverage, or even just your visibility, you know, in the fact that you won a significant fight. Whether it's really significant or not, you know, that's debatable, but it's significant in the eyes of, you know, UK fans and even to me too, you know, with the family feud and all that stuff. I was excited for it. I was more excited for that fight than I initially anticipated. So I think that that's enough to boost his popularity and attract somebody like Canelo, because let's be honest, in Cinnamon's division, he doesn't really have, I'm not giving an excuse, right? Because he could fight Pacheco, he could fight Billy, there's people there, but as far as guys that are intriguing from a popularity standpoint and a high profile, is kind of limited at 168. If he wanted a big fight, he has to fight like Terrence Bud Crawford, David Benavidez, obviously, or a Bivol rematch. You know what I'm saying? None of those guys I just mentioned are in his weight division. And potentially even Beterbiev if Beterbiev beats Bivol again. So I don't think people would be too excited for Jaime Munguia rematch. That's a top guy at 168 he already beat. Edgar Berlanga rematch. That's a top guy at 168 he already beat. Caleb Plant rematch. A top guy at 168 he already beat. And then Jamal Charlo would be there, but Jamal Charlo's he's not active right now. We don't know how he's going to look against Thomas Cornflake Lamana. So I don't think Pacheco and Billy are big fights. I definitely don't think Ozzy Iglesias is a big fight. So who else at 168 is a big fight? So I could see him pursuing, and we got to remember too, I mean, even Hamza Shiraz was flirted to be getting Canelo if he were to beat Carlos Adames and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So he kind of flushed that opportunity down the toilet when he was a beneficiary of a draw robbery, which was a robbery because Adames won that, Bronco Adames. But yeah, I just think that the options are kind of limited. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Chris Eubank and Turkey fight Eubank and Ben rematch didn't happen, and Eubank got the nod to get Cinnamon. I do not like that fight now. I'd be mad at Cinnamon, but that's what I think will be on the table again, because that was already on the table before, and that was when Chris Eubank he had less to offer, and now he has more to offer. So I can see them revisiting that. Now Oscar says, is it the lack of a presence from promoter or fans? Oscar be bashing matchroom fighters at Eddie Quiet, and then Eddie stitches on his fighters. Maybe a combination of both. I don't know. What you think, Ty?
I think they allocating funds the wrong way. They push certain guys that honestly don't deserve it. I'll give you an example. Ben Whitaker. Too early, too much AdSense being invested in him just for everybody to look at him like he's a fraud. We see this time and time again with other fighters. But the ones that really need that promotion, that have the skills or whatever, they don't get it.
Like who?
Like what Bob did to Terrence Crawford.
Talk to him. Who else?
Yeah.
Shit. He put all that money into Loma. Loma is a good talent, but he's also a company man.
Yeah.
He can get Loma for the cheap.
Yeah.
He can't do that with no Shakur, though.
No Sersky.
Yeah.
We about to see that unfold with Keyshawn.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a fact. That's a fact, man. I mean, even with Boots, you know, shout out to, like I said, I thought it was a good idea. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Ty and Bozy and this and the camp and everybody else close to the situation that I am. I'm not saying that it is. I'm just saying I thought from the outside looking in that him going with Matchroom was good. But even I will say that in addition to them having the unification fights, which I think is dope, is he putting the proper funds behind him? Is he allocating those funds properly? Is he giving him the best promotion that he can? I think some people would say no, you know what I'm saying? So I think Boots is a top talent, and I feel like he's doing a good job from my perspective, but could he be doing more is a question, you know? I mean, I'm hearing some rumblings about Bam Rodriguez too. Say it again?
I would say yes, he can do more.
Right.
He's done a decent job with Boots because the star power and the performances are there. He's keeping him busy, but it just seemed like with Eddie, he had his own ulterior motives versus actually addressing the fighters' needs or what they signed there for.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Brian Norman Sr. was right. All the things they asked for, y'all gave to another fighter. But people don't want to address that. What's the difference between the negotiations he had with B. Norman Jr. and Stanionis? He will sit there and tell you that B. Norman never made upwards of $500K.
Yep.
Y'all really know what Stanionis' purses was?
Come on now.
Let's keep it buck. It ain't too far off from what B. Norman was making, but they still gave him well over $2 million.
Come on.
Gave him a neutral site.
Come on now.
And Boots took a little less.
Yep.
That happened because Boots was in control. Like, he took more control of his situation and forced that on Eddie.
You see?
With the B. Norman thing, Eddie was over there not negotiating in good faith.
The more you know,
Chad. He thought the money was at 54.
You see?
So he ain't notified no sanctioning bodies. He dragged his feet with the offers. Didn't address the mandatory because in his mind, Boots was going to 54. We gonna go get this Virgil money.
Exactly.
Kirk got that bag for me.
Exactly. So I thought that was very bad, and not even to mention, even to double down on that. I mean, Eddie Hearn, he didn't even win the purse bid for Karen, and he had to spend more money to get that fight in where was it? Philly, excuse me.
Philly.
You know what I'm saying?
Fargo.
So it's like, bro, you know, you gotta listen to the fighters, man, and you know, whatever. I don't know. I think that I hope that he goes for the undisputed. I think he will, and I'm looking forward to it, man. And I also think that you know, sometimes you have Boots may not have the charisma. Might be similar to Terrence Crawford in that regard, as far as being a polarizing character from a personality standpoint, but you can still make him into that. He has like Ty said, he has a performance there. He has a desire there, has an ambition there. Man, you know, just try to make these fights happen, man, whatever it takes.
Eddie showed that if you put money behind somebody, they can be a star.
Conor Benn, come on now. All it takes is the right push, man. I mean, look, trying to think of who. Yeah, it's just. I mean, I can see. A lot of us don't really see Boots losing at 147. I think a lot of us would assume that Brian Norman would be his biggest obstacle, and a lot of us would think that he clears that obstacle as well. So, yeah, man. Can you imagine him going to 154 as an undisputed champion, and 147, bro? That's Hall of Fame already. I'm not saying we should call him Hall of Fame right now.
The fights that people ask for.
Exactly. And now, you know, I'm not saying the Bud and Boots fights should happen or would happen, but you have a better chance now. You know what I'm saying? And forget that. But I'm just saying he makes you more of an attractive opponent. It's gonna be less okay. Like Bakram, not saying Bakram wouldn't fight Boots if he goes 154. I think he would. Bakram seems like the type that would fight anybody. Even though Boots is about that life. So, but my point is that you would really want to fight him now because now you have a chance to knock off an undisputed champion. Or former undisputed champion, whatever. Like that people want to build their legacy too. That's why Bakram wanted to fight, wants to fight the other champions. He's always talking about fighting another champion. Oh, I want to fight. Who was the other? Fedora, calling out Fedora, calling out Bud, calling out whoever is the champions at 154. You know, so yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I just think that that's just common sense. I don't even see what the only thing I can see the issue is maybe, and it's, I'm not trying to give Eddie Hearn an out, but maybe Turkey, like you said, you know, we know Turkey wants Virgil or sorry, Oscar, and some others want Virgil and Boots. I'm sure Turkey probably wants that as well. So maybe Turkey isn't as excited about Boots staying at 147 or something like that, or maybe he's not. Forget not being excited. Maybe he's just not interested. Yeah, he's not excited, not interested in funding that. And so maybe Eddie Hearn wants Boots to eventually get picked up by Turkey, and maybe he sees that at 154. I don't know. You know, I'm just speculating right now. But other than that, I can't see why a promoter or anybody would not be excited about their fighter becoming undisputed. I don't get it. He was excited about Bivol, but then, you know, Bivol was what? He was under Turkey. So that's the linkage that I'm making. Maybe it has something to do with that. Maybe, you know,
you have to pay.
Yeah, maybe he has to pay. Exactly. Maybe he has to pay. He's trying to avoid footing the bill, I guess. Just speculation by me. I'm saying that. I don't know. I don't know that's true. Will be a tune-up since it's a heavyweight debut. No name yet. Okay. Yeah, I know he's supposed to fight Lawrence Okoli, but I know that one of them got injured, so that's what's up. Shout out to Richard Riakpour. Hopefully he puts on a better performance than he did with Christian and Billy. That shit was trash. Maybe not Christian and Billy, excuse me. Chris Billiam Smith, excuse me. Not Christian and Billy. Chris Billiam Smith. That was one of the worst fights I saw in my life. Richard Riakpour and Chris Billiam Smith, CBS. That shit was trash.
Yeah, they could have kept that one.
I'm telling you, bro. Kept that in the freaking UK pub or something.
Know your fucking place. Trash.
There's two things I wanted to ask you.
Yes, sir.
Well, one is to ask, the other one is my thought. With Bivol, I think he had more seniority with Eddie. That's the reason why he's willing to do certain things for him. Or he was being shut out because of his Russian background and all that other mixed shit. But my question is about 54, because we touched on that a little bit. Pause.
Oh, you skipped out.
I think it's a little.
Oh, no, there you
no.
go.
I said pause and then I paused.
Oh, my fault. I didn't hear you.
I was like, touch on that. I was like,
oh yeah, you wildin'. Oh yeah, you wildin'. Come on, bro. No Diddy.
No Diddy.
The Pandora situation at 54. I think it's kind of weird because they're saying Xander Zayas is want to challenge him.
Yes, for WBO.
But do what? Oh, WBO. All right.
Yep.
I was about to say, why isn't Virgil getting his opportunity?
Right, exactly. I guess the WBO is up first or something because Gustavo Oliveira, he's pushing that hard. He's saying he even gave them a date for the purse, of course, which is not abnormal. But then he said that they're gonna live stream. Matter of fact, let me see if I can pull it up. They're gonna live stream the bid. I said, dang, he really trying to get this popping for sure. Let me see if I can pull it up. I'll get right from the horse's mouth. I don't even know why he's like going hard at it. So I said, man, shout out to I like Sebastian Fedora. I will be rooting for Xander Zayas in this fight. But man, I think Fedora's gonna win. I'm gonna read it to you right now. Let's see if I can pull it up. He's very adamant about it. Okay, here he goes right here. It says, this is President Gustavo Oliveira, who's the president of the WBO, World Boxing Organization. He says, Fedora Zayas, 154 pounds mandatory. Be advised that having the parties unable to reach terms as ordered, the WBO will order purse proceedings, $200K minimum bid with 75% for the champ, 25% for the challenger. So 75% for Fedora, 25% for Zayas. Proceedings to be conducted next week and streamed live. Hashtag new era. They about to stream the proceedings, bro. The purse bid.
I guess the WBC must have owed them a favor.
I guess so. Something, because they ain't even talk about WBC mandatories or nothing, or you know what I'm saying? Like they just Xander Zayas is next. Now will Xander Zayas and Top Rank do something else, pivot or something like that, and then blame like injury or something like that? Maybe, I don't know, but I don't like the fight for Sebastian Fedora right now. That's
I
just
think
my personal
when
opinion.
Fedora acquired those belts, it wasn't like there was a pending mandatory from the WBO.
Exactly. That's what I was
Tim
like. I
Tszyu
don't remember.
satisfied that.
Right. I was like, I don't remember Tim
But
Tszyu
being
having
as
anybody.
though he got the the WBC vacant,
Yep.
it's a timeline for a mandatory with that. So he would have been first.
Mm-hmm.
You got an interim champion, so that would be the guy.
Yep. Virgil Ortiz. That's what I was thinking too, but I was like, man, I don't know, man. Xander Zayas is the one that's
Or Bob putting out that money.
hey. Yeah, I
Makes
definitely
sense though.
yeah. Who do you think has a better chance of beating Fedora? Ortiz or Xander?
I feel like both guys could beat Fedora,
Yeah.
but I think Virgil's style is more susceptible to Fedora maybe getting a W because of the infighting and the punching down.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think Xander's gonna be in the pocket for all that bullshit.
Right. That's why I think he beats Fedora if the fight happens later. Right now, I don't know. But hey, man, it's a coming of age, man. Go get that smoke. Hop in that paint. Oscar says Virgil don't want that pressure. Maybe not. Maybe Virgil don't want it. I don't know. I wonder what's next for Virgil though. That's a good one.
I think Virgil is with the smoke.
I think so too.
I don't think his handler is.
Yep. I agree with that.
That's just a golden boy thing.
What do you think about the this weekend, man? I mean, there's gonna be any I mean, I don't know if are there any upsets? Like, I mean, I guess if Rolly wins, that's an upset. Like circumstantially, I'm saying, of course, would be upset if Ramirez beats Devin Haney. But I mean, like, I feel like
Barboza.
You think Barbosa's upset?
Yeah, 7-5.
Hey,
I wouldn't be surprised if he went in there and outboxed and out-countered Tio for 12 rounds.
Hey, I hope you're right, man. I think that's a good fight, man. I definitely think that's a good fight, man. I'm pulling for Barbosa, but man, I think Tio's gonna win. But I hope I hope not though. I hope Barbosa boxes his head off. But I just hope there's no robberies too, man. He said, Rolly, Ramirez, Barbosa wins all upsets. Yeah, but I mean, okay, so but my point, what I was going to get to, shout out to Ty for the answer, but I was going to get to, like, for example, if Ramirez wins, people are going to be like, see, I told you Devin Haney was done. So I'm talking about like a pure upset with with limited excuses. I feel like the only one that won't have an excuse if it's an upset is maybe Rolly, because people don't think highly of Rolly. And if Rolly wins, even though they'll still say, oh, Ryan was coming off a layoff, but they'd be like, okay, but this is what Ryan looks like without PED. So I feel like it'll be less of an excuse. And if Barbosa beats Tio, you know, they're gonna say, oh, Tio hasn't fought, you know, and he's not focused and all this other stuff. So I guess the proper phrasing of it would have been upset with the least amount of excuses. I guess I should have said that.
I don't see an upset on that card without any Mick tied to it.
Right.
With Tio, he's going to give you every excuse in the world.
Exactly.
Ryan's going to do the same.
Right.
And then people were going to sit there and say, well, Rolly, he fought dirty. He roughed Ryan up.
Yep.
Or it was the ref.
Yep.
There's always somebody except for Ryan.
Yep.
Ramirez wins. Now we burying Haney.
Yep. Haney done, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I hope he wins, man. Oh man. I'm not saying he's done, like he's not a serviceable fighter. He can't be good again, but as far as public opinion, oh, he's through. And the sad part is too, they're gonna call him like, you know, how like Stephen A. Smith used to do Kwame Brown and stuff like that. Say the worst #1 draft pick. They go make it seem like Devin Haney was the worst star in boxing history or something like that. Like a fraud or something like that is what I'm saying.
Damn, not Kwame Brown.
They gonna say it, bro. They gonna act like he Kwame Brown, bro. Shout out to Kwame Brown, man.
You put a bad image in my head. I can see it now. What's the boy name? Chris Mannix.
Chris Mannix, bro. Oh man.
Devin Kwame Brown.
Yep.
I told you guys I knew this was gonna happen.
Yep, that's what they're all gonna say. I knew it. I knew it. I just want to make sure everybody gives the winner their credit. If Ramirez wins, give him his credit. But if Devin Haney wins, give him his credit. Because I see a whole lot of people saying, "Oh man, with Devin Haney's finished, this is the wrong guy to have a tune-up fight to, or sorry, a rebound fight with, all this other stuff." So don't suddenly make Ramirez old, or suddenly make him bad, or suddenly realize that he was on a he's coming off a loss. Don't make it seem like that, man. Or say, "Oh, it's his first time at 147." Yeah, don't say none of that stuff. Because according to the DAZN commentators, this is the wrong guy to have. And I think Jose Carlos Ramirez is a good fighter, man. I definitely think he's a good fighter. You know, I had him beating Barbosa. I was wrong with that. But I picked him to beat Barbosa. So I think he's a good fighter. But I just don't want to hear people, suddenly switch up, because a lot of people are saying, "Oh, he's a good fighter. It's the wrong person for Devin Haney to fight." Oscar De La Hoya saying he's going to knock him out and all this other stuff. And so, he's a motivated fighter, and so let's get it, man.
I mean, Ramirez is the wrong person to have him fight just because of how susceptible he is to being outboxed.
Mm-hmm.
That's how Barboza beat him.
Yep. That's true. But they were saying the wrong person to fight, like he about to lose type stuff. So.
They say that, but throughout this whole promotion, they ain't give that man one iota of respect.
Nope. Like he said himself, the only person give me respect is my opponent, Devin Haney. That's what he said. But Devin Haney's a bad guy, though, right?
That's what they promoted it as.
Sure.
He sued too many people.
Right.
Yet one of the showrunners sued every promotion he was ever tied to and fighters.
Who that was? Who that is?
Bernard Hopkins.
It's just funny, the narratives, man, being spun, man. Team Rolly in 5. What'd you say again? Was it? How's it go? What's you'll say? You say you don't care if it's Ryan, he crying, or something about trying. I don't remember. You got a saying with it. Oscar Rolly in 5. You guys drop your saying, bro. But yeah, man, I just think it's just crazy, bro. Like, let's go. Hey, it's right upon us, man. I can't believe it's this weekend, man. Time, bro. We are already in May. I feel like I just celebrating the new year, bro. We are about to be in May in 2 days, bro.
They're moving fast.
Today's the 28th, right? Yeah, today's the 28th. So 2 days, bro. That's crazy. Moving fast. Our time waits on nobody, man. So you gotta live. Just live your life. Like the Rihanna T.I., man. Live the life, enjoy it, man. Whatever you do, just make sure you're enjoying yourself. Whatever enjoying your life looks like to you, make sure you do that. Now, handle business too. Now, I mean, don't handle business now. But for me, enjoying life is handling business. So. But yeah, my brother, man, I'm finna go ahead and call it, bro. Got any closing thoughts, man?
He said, "Clone Kendrick, the title eliminator for Ty." We don't know.
Title eliminator is crazy, bro. Oh man, title.
It can be.
All right, hey, we can do that. I don't know, man. You think they're ready for that, man? I don't know. I ain't seen Kendrick and Clone in a minute, man. They gotta. I don't know, man. They gotta perform, man. I don't know, man. When is it supposed to be?
Skip them over Dub. I think they're matched up for Thursday.
Yep, Thursday. Morning show or late show? Thursday night. Yep, Thursday night. Okay, I got him. Typing it in right now.
All right, you said closing thoughts. For most, I know it's easy to just go with the American guy or the one we know more of, B. Norman Jr. But I feel like this is a true 50-50 fight. Both these guys have power. They both have leaky defenses. They're there to be hit. Ain't too much lateral movement from either guy.
Nope.
And neither one of them has two good hips. I think B. Norman might be able to squeak this one out, but I would not be surprised if Sasaki wins.
Ooh.
That's all I got for you.
Uh-oh. I know you heard that, chat. I know you heard that, Sasaki. It might get a little rocky for B. Norman messing with Sasaki.
It's not an easy fight like people say it is.
Facts. Trying to draw this thing. Come on, man. I don't know, man.
Boys who cry.
I think he definitely has a chance. So that's a fact.
But wait, boys be crying.
Yeah, he switched his name. Yeah, he switched because Tufo was talking about he wanted to shorten his name when he added him. He's like, man, you know, yeah. And he said that
BBC now.
Yes. So he said that he was BWC before. And then he said, I feel like you did that on purpose. And then so boys who cry changed his name to Boys Be Crying. He said, I evolved from the BWC to the BBC. I said, come on, bro. Y'all gotta chill out, man. That joke had me crying, bro. I don't know what's wrong with people, man. Tufo and boys had me rolling with that one. The man said he evolved from the BWC to the BBC.
What?
To answer Oscar. They gonna have to see WJ, but I am gonna take this voluntary because boys be crying saying people don't want no smoke. Send the contract. He can be my voluntary if he ever shows up to the Discord.
Man, he ain't trying to show up, man. When he said that? Oh, everyone ducking me. They chicken said me, man, stop it, man. You're not about to pull up in the Discord, man. Stop it. How long you been in the stream? You ain't never jumped in the Discord yet, bro. Nah. You gotta join the Discord for you make your debut on the Square Up, man. Cause we gotta schedule that out, man. I think you might no show. And we ain't trying to find you, you know what I'm saying? You might know
B.
show,
Norman
bro.
can take that fight serious and still lose.
I agree.
It's
with
not
that.
a guaranteed win.
I agree with that.
From a film standpoint, it's not much that separate the guys besides the nation they come from.
I agree with that.
Maybe one got a louder dad than the other, or more visible dad, I mean. I think the only knock against Sasaki is most people here don't know him. He's from Japan, and he's at a weight where we don't credit Japanese boxers.
Yep, at 147. I agree with that. Now, I think just Sasaki's dangerous. So I do think Norman wins. And if Norman wins, I'm gonna give him full credit, and vice versa. You know.
This just remind me of what happened during the 90s at 135, where one of our guys went over there. Some mick happened, and they got their first ever champion at the world level at that division.
You better be careful. You better get that stoppage. Don't leave it up to the judges. Better get that stoppage. Make it convincing, man. Because, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either, man. I want to show y'all this, though, real quick before I slide. This is just fresh. This is fresh off the stove, fresh out the stove. What y'all think about this, man? Good old Tyson Fury.
Just in the gym, happened to bump into somebody you might know. We back.
I got it. You know what time it is.
You know what's coming.
We back. You know what time it is. You know what's coming. Tyson Fury versus AJ right around the corner. What you think, Ty?
I told you that boy was in a dark corner somewhere, lurking. he wasn't going. He was just mad at Turk at the moment. He thought he was going to get some, some extra concessions, and he didn't go his way.
Man. He said, you know what's coming, man. I don't know, bro. I like it, man. I'm still interested in that fight, man. Call me a sucker. I'm still interested in this fight, man.
I got AJ.
I got AJ as well. Shout out to my guy Fury, you know what I'm saying? My Tyson King, Gypsy King of obesity, man. But I got AJ, bro. But I don't know still, though. Today, right now, I feel like I got AJ. But, man, I don't know, man. Tyson Fury, I can see him out boxing still. He ain't really look that bad against Usyk.
Yeah.
AJ by what? Decision or stoppage?
I feel like AJ put up a better fight in his second fight with Usyk than Fury did in both the fights.
Hey.
It was that imminent danger factor he had that Fury just don't possess.
Yep. The second fight was a split decision, right? With AJ and Usyk.
No, I think it was both UDs.
Okay.
With a crazy purse split in favor of AJ, but Shakur is bitching about what Devin offered him. Like, this ain't the standard. That boy Usyk got 22%. Both fights.
Yep.
For 3 belts.
That's AJ, man, the money man. Oh, nah, the second fight was split decision. I was right. Yep. The first fight was UD. Second fight was split decision. So yeah, you're right. That was a close fight.
They gave him a little respect on the second one.
Yeah, because I remember it being close too. I was going to agree with you. So yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see, bro. AJ and Fury. I like it, man. But yeah, man, I'm about to go ahead and slide. Try to get me some breakfast, and I'm gonna drop this video too, man. We gonna drop the little, add to the rumor reel. See what the world thinks about this Fury AJ fight being teased. What you say?
Last hot take.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
AJ always beat Fury.
Woo!
Because AJ ain't the one that was talking about this motherfucking fight. We keeping it G. Fury and his representatives was on some Keith Thurman type shit.
Uh-oh.
He ain't got enough standing on his name.
Uh-oh.
He's not of my class.
Uh-oh.
He came in after me.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Same.
My boy Fury under some pressure now. Who is bigger star, Sasaki in Japan or Norman in the USA? Oh, Sasaki in Japan, I would think. I don't know. Though. I have to think, but I would think Sasaki in Japan. I mean, they just like boxing more than us. I could be wrong though. But hey, man, my boy said he got AJ, man. He said Tyson Fury been ducking that smoke. You know what I'm talking about? Surprised he ain't got the 6-pack with all that gosh dang ducking he was doing, man. You know what I'm saying? Flexing his stomach, man. Tried to duck with a 6'9" frame. But all right, then, my brother, man. Appreciate you pulling up on the panel, man. Shout out to my guy
AJ
Todd.
called him out while he still had hair.
Hey, he said he wanted. He said he wanted all the Fury, man. Fury with hair, Fury with the belly, Fury without the jelly, Fury with the bald head.
Yeah, hair and skinny. I'm the way AJ called him out. That's the funny part.
Hey yo, man. Yes, sir, man. But yeah, man, I'm gonna holler at you, bro. I'm gonna be on for the late show. Good Lord willing. I'm gonna drop these videos. Man, be on the lookout for videos, y'all. Yes, sir. God bless, Ty. Appreciate you pulling up, man. King Ty in the building, man. Shout out to my guy, man. Our brother. Appreciate him pulling up, man. Shout out to everybody that pulled up on the show as well. I'll be back on for the late show. Good Lord willing at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You know how he gets it in. Shout out to my guy Illuminati, bro. I was yelling at the TV for you, but you know I'm always putting in work, man. Stop playing, man. You know what time it is. We get the hustle off the bustle, man. Yes, sir. I'm always gonna put in work as long as God bless me with the ability to do so, man. So appreciate you pulling up. Jesus is King. Amen. Jesus is King is in the building, man. What's good, bro? What's up with you, man? How's your kids? Hopefully your kids are doing good, man. Need to see you around the channel more often, bro. You say you was yelling at the TV for Eubank in the 12. Yes, sir. I want some money. I want me a little nice little $10 off that bet for Eubank, you know. Tyson Fury and Sugar Hill have some hookers in the locker room waiting for that. Facts, bro. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Sugar Hill and Tyson Fury, they just seem like they're up to no good. They just seem like they're up to no good, man. I hate to say that because you're innocent to proven guilty, but they just seem like whatever they get accused of, they guilty. You know what I'm saying? They might be having, I don't know what they got going on, but they might be out there with Diddy. No Diddy. They might be, they might be out there, snow on the bluff. You know what I'm talking about? Out there with that booger sugar, I don't know what, they just look like a guilty party, bro, whenever they're together, man. But at least they having fun, man. Shout out to them. And making a lot of money while doing it, man. That's a dream. So, but yeah, man, I'm about to go ahead and call it, man. Appreciate y'all rocking as always. If you're not a member, consider becoming a member, man. Starting at $3 a month, it keeps us going and growing. You feel me? It really keeps us going and growing and helps contribute to the channel growth and YouTube to push us out there, man, for the in the algorithm and stuff like that to keep us going. So consider becoming a member. It supports the channel directly, and the more members you have, the more the YouTube likes to push it out because they say, oh, people like this channel and people love this channel, man. And I appreciate that, man. Starting at $3 a month, you get access to all these emotes. You get a priority on the comments, and most importantly, you get the satisfaction of knowing that you're keeping us going and growing, man. You're supporting a young man's dream, man. Let's get it popping. Let's get it popping, man. So yeah, y'all be easy. Take care of yourselves. Oh, also too, man, appreciate the love in the super chat with the graffiti on the chat walls coming from my guy Oscar with the $2. Shout out to George, the last Patriot. He dropped a big dub on us, coming through like a boss. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The chicken in the kitchen. Pollo en la cocina. Big money, man. Shout out to my guy George, man. Shout out to George, last Patriot with $2. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't done yet. Shout out to Isaiah with $2. Shout out to George, last Patriot. He still wasn't done. Another $2. Shout out to my guy Isaiah with another $2, man. Appreciate the love that we got in the chat today, man. Let's keep it going so we can keep growing. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate the love. Let's go, man. Y'all be easy. I'll be back on for the late show. You know, we do 2 shows every Monday through Friday. Morning show at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the late show at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we drop videos throughout the day as well. So, man, so tap in with your boy, and let's get it, man. Go ahead and retweet the channel. You know what I'm saying? Share the channel. Definitely hit that like button. But more importantly than all that, man, remember with God, we can do anything. Without God, we're nothing. The doctor's out. Catch you on the flip side. Peace.
From the hood to college, both worlds they had to meet. 6 degrees between us, so cold, we're about to freeze. But we're Florida boys, hot takes, we bring the heat. We're moving the culture, the engineers to the streets.